it. Alright, man. So we should be live. Alright, boom. That's what's up. What's going on YouTube? Today, me and 420 and Shelly, we are gonna be talking about a young man named, let's see if I'm live. A young man named Parker Edmonson. That's it. Now Parker Edmonson is what you would call something like a genius. Um, but I don't want to be the one saying that. I'm gonna let y'all decide. We're just gonna watch a few videos he got. This kid builds things in his backyard. I saw him on TikTok, and then one day they were like, "Yo, they're deleting his channel," and then he made a YouTube and put all his videos on there. Um, but yeah, we're gonna check him out. Parker Edmonson, this fucking genius kid, bruh.
Okay, today I'm going to be showing you the magnifying transmitter in the dark. Okay, so I have been working on the magnifying transmitter all day long, and I've actually decided to tune it to a different frequency. This frequency being 168 kilocycles, or 168,000 hertz. Okay, so the power comes in from this transformer, which I have reversed to step up voltage. And then it goes into these capacitors and the inductor or primary of the magnifying transmitter. This is known as the LC circuit or inductance capacitance circuit. So this part is tuned to 168 kilohertz or 168,000 hertz. Once the current goes through the primary, it's induced into the secondary, which is tuned to a fourth of the wavelength of this frequency of the primary. And then the bottom of the secondary is grounded to the earth, and the top goes into the extra coil, which is tuned to the coil's natural resonant frequency. And the ball on the top acts as a capacitor to help tune the whole system. So,
Okay. Okay, he just explained what? I don't know. I don't know why he needs the bottles. Look, I don't get it. This kid's smart as shit. It says there's a correction. We're just gonna listen to the rest of it.
if anybody wants to build a coil that is tuned to 168 kilohertz, you will receive my electricity as long as the coil is connected to the ground somehow. So this coil right here is tuned to a harmonic of the earth, and it creates standing waves in the earth. If you've ever heard of standing waves in a string, this coil creates standing waves in the earth. So there are nodal points. Okay, this is a correction of something I said earlier. If you want to receive the electricity from this coil, you must wind a coil a fourth of the wavelength of 168 kilohertz. Okay, if the coil is working very well, the neon light bulbs should not light up all around me in the air, because all the electricity will be going into the ground. Okay, now I'm going to throw the switches.
I don't know why he plays that. I don't know why he plays that music, but I ain't trying to get copyright struck for that stupid ass shit. But he turns on the switches and it makes this loud noise.
Okay, this is an example of a receiving coil. So this length of wire needs to be a fourth of the wavelength of 168 kilohertz. This is your secondary. Make sure you ground the bottom of the receiving coil. Okay, this is part 2 of the previous video. Okay, let me see if y'all can see the coil better in.
Nigga, I didn't understand the first one. Hold on. 420, man. You muted, bro.
My bad. Yeah.
What's up, bro?
This nigga sounds like what's that Looney Tunes character, nigga, the alien.
Motherfucking
Marvin
Marvin the Martian. Pegasus to Megas Troy. Stop even.
Sounds like Kermit the Frog, but
And he making the afro look bad.
But what you think about what that man doing though?
I mean, shit, that sound like some genius shit. That sound like he trying to figure out how to do his own shit
He
without
made
having to.
Yeah, he made a Tesla coil, but instead of putting the waves in the air, he sent the waves in the ground so that if you make one, no matter where you're at on the earth, as long as the coil is at a certain hertz and frequency, you could pick up his electricity. Do you understand what he, like, that? The nigga just, look, the nigga said it's tuned at the frequency of the earth. So the electricity he's putting into the earth, if you tune at that frequency somewhere else on the earth, you get that electricity.
Mm,
I'm so afraid that they're gonna kill this kid, bruh.
yeah, I know, right? Nigga, that nigga. I mean, yeah, that's some smart shit he talking about, though. You know that. I mean, you as an average person, you would just have to have all those materials, which is not
420,
hard to
do you know
get.
420? Do you know what that means? That means if I'm in America, brother, and you're in a third world country, and we communicate, and I know you, you know me, we the family. You want to live somewhere else, but ain't no electricity. It's a third world country. I could have a little device in my backyard that has a specific frequency. You know it. So you make your little, you put wherever you put your little thing, as long as you got your base from me that I got a frequency I'm setting out, you can connect to that anywhere on the planet Earth. That's what I'm trying to
Mhm.
help you understand. I'm talking about anywhere on the Earth. I'm not talking about in the same state, a house away. Range is not an issue because the Earth is all connected.
Yeah,
The
but see, the
electricity is,
question,
is going to
he
travel.
needs to get in. He needs to get into the specifics as is what, how much can you,
Thank
what
you.
all can you
That's the
power?
question. Exactly.
You know, you can power your heater, your AC unit, your lights, your refrigerator, your washer and dryer, your computers, your Wi-Fi, all that. It's a lot of electricity that like a normal household just
Yeah.
uses in
Right.
general. You know what I mean? So I
Right.
you
mean, it's
think?
just.
That because if it was a
But
significant,
just the thought of him knowing how to do that, I mean, yeah, that's smart. You know what I
that's
mean?
dope
Because you
as fuck,
probably
right?
could. I'm sure you probably could. You know, at the least, fucking charge your phone up. Shit.
That exactly,
You
yeah.
know what I
You think
mean?
that?
Fact. And that'll save lives. It's places that ain't got no electricity. You could put one of them things on one of them stranded islands, or put like a payphone in the middle of the desert. You see what I'm saying? It's like, yo,
Really?
I don't know how the fuck I got in the middle of the Sahara, my nigga. But if you in Dubai or Palestine or whatever, nigga, I'm right
Do
here.
you
Yeah, I
think
mean,
it's
yeah,
like?
yeah,
Like that'll
yeah,
be
yeah.
fire. That's fire because even if it's not that much power, you can do a lot with that just by giving a person a little checkpoint, a little node on the earth to connect. That'll save lives. But I just
Do
thought,
you think that they'd try to kill him for real?
what happened?
Do you think they'd really try to kill him?
What happened? What? Oh no, I don't think they'll try to kill him nowadays. I think it's too much social media and stuff like that. Like his ideas are already on TikTok. It's not the same thing as the dude threatening the oil companies with the water engine. For one, that was back
Yeah,
in
that'll
this.
get you killed.
Yeah, that was.
What's
Yeah,
that about
that's.
though?
Well, GM and them boys, them some good old boys. They go by
Yeah,
old rules. They don't that
that'll
crude
Like
get you
oil
killed right the
business.
fuck up out of
Yeah,
here doing
nah,
that.
yeah,
what that's
nah.
about though?
It's they just come from a different time. That was back in the '70s when that happened with that dude and other guys that went with him. Like, I mean, because those dudes back in the day, they knew how to do like the poor man's patent and really like set some shit in stone, and that's what they was doing. They was trying to patent this shit, and that's when the companies was like, wait a minute, it's one thing about playing with it in your backyard and showing your fellas, that's not gonna fuck up the economy. But nigga, you talking about selling something that's gonna tank us?
Hmm.
You
But
nigga,
back in the day,
what?
they had steam engines. You know, they did have steam engines and shit like that back then. You know, so I mean,
It's
I
not. It's
think
not
that
that. Yeah. It's not that it's not can't be done, but they're not talking about just steam. They're talking about hydrogen.
Wow.
Hydrogen is different.
Okay, I got you. Yeah,
Steam is just some pressure. Hydrogen
yeah.
is
I didn't know that.
combustible.
I
Hydrogen is like
understand.
So they're
combustible
talking
water.
about taking the what is that? The H. They're talking about taking the O and the 2 ounces using the H.
Right, right, right. Exactly.
Taking
Wow.
the
Exactly.
oxygen out that shit, pretty much.
That's a fact. All right, I'm gonna try to get through it. I think this dude talks funny. He has the crazy hair, man. I can't wait to see him on one of them science documentaries. You know, you're not a scientist unless you got the crazy hair. You feel me?
In this
Go
video.
ahead.
Okay, so here's the coil. I'm gonna go around it and prove there's no connections to anything except this wire, which connects to the earth ground, which is the swimming pool in this case. Okay, there's the neon light bulb. And this connection on the neon light bulb, which goes to the bottom of the light bulb, connects to the top of this whole entire coil. So one side of this coil connects to the ground, and the other connects to this light bulb. Now I'm going to tap on the light bulb again. Here, let me turn off my flashlight. Okay, ready?
Okay, so he pretty much just tested it.
with the historic and devastating flood.
He tested it and pretty much. So I guess the
You
coil that
muted,
was in
Preach.
his.
You muted. You
Oh
muted.
shit. Yeah. All right, so he tested it. The coil, I guess, the original coil that was sending it out or creating it was in the backyard, and then the other one, the test one, was in the front yard. You see what I'm saying? Because you need a coil to send it, but the thing that's conducting the electricity is bigger. The coils can be anywhere, but it's always a hub that sends out the and has the frequency. So he tapped on the light bulb, and it was like, okay, so the electricity is being sent. I guess, like you said, he doesn't have enough power coming out of it. You see what I'm saying? But the
Yeah, but
concept is fire.
he's on to something.
He on to something. He on to something.
Yeah.
But I
Okay,
who
this is part
who the fuck thinks about shit like that, man? Like who the fuck thinks about shit like that? But anyway, the kid's name is Parker Edmonson. Um, I just feel like it was something interesting to look at. He's obviously like an albino kid. You know what I mean? But yeah, he just moved to YouTube. So yeah,
I
definitely
mean, it's no
subscribe to him.
different from if you've ever let me see, like if you ever put on like some fresh socks or something like that and walked on like carpet, you can like if you turn the lights off on certain carpets, you can see like the electricity like popping up sometimes. You know what I mean? Even with a balloon
Yeah.
on certain carpets, rubbing the balloon against your shirt or the carpet, it'll light up for like a millisecond. You know what I'm saying? Like just small little like a small little light. You know what I'm saying? So there's people we have electricity just naturally in our body. That's one. Two, static electricity is a real
I
thing.
hate
You know
that.
what I'm saying? So it's just like when you
Touch
rub
it.
your foot on the ground or your foot on the carpet and touch something metal, you can literally see like a spark, and that's the electricity that your body has generated and it's passing it on to that metal. But obviously the metal
Right.
it stops there. But I mean, if there was a way to harness that and actually like multiply that and magnify that, then yeah, you probably could fucking zap somebody damn near. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I mean, it just hasn't been done. But I'm sure there's a method and there's some type of formula to magnify that electricity that you can naturally just emit, from your body and stuff. Static electricity. Remember that
Yeah.
cartoon? What was it called? Static Shock or some shit like that?
Yeah.
You remember that?
Oh,
The
yep.
black
Same
superhero.
thing, same concept.
Static Shock was fire. Most definitely. This
That's
kid,
crazy
I
because
thought
when
I thought
I
this kid's no, go ahead, Michelle.
no, I was just saying that's crazy because when I worked at a hospital, I was always scared to push wheelchairs for a reason because whenever I would push like they have these the old school ones that y'all used to that it was made of leather and stuff and the handles was rubber, and anytime I would try to push the elevator button, it popped, it shocked me, so I
Yeah,
would wear latex gloves because that's what for real it scared me because one time I don't know what was going on. I was going to press the elevator button and I used my phone instead. And you know the thing sparked? That's
So
literally what
that's more than just a small shock. That's like a good amount of electricity.
I listen, every time when it gets cold or something, I'm scared to touch stuff because I instantly get like shocked or something. I don't know. But he's right about when you touch things or whatever, it happens. Even with my clothes when they're washed, if I don't
yeah,
use
yeah.
You
uh
mean if you let them dry and just sit there?
yeah, one time
Yeah.
I literally picked up this wool blanket and I was trying to straighten it out and I freaking saw a little like electricity. It just shook me. I didn't know
Yeah.
that was gonna happen.
You can pull it out the dryer and put that shit on, and you'll hear it. It'll be like,
Oh yeah.
it'll start popping. That's
Now,
why that's one of the reasons why when you go to a gas station and at the actual gas pump, they put signs there now saying before you grab the pump and do whatever you do, touch something metal, ground
Wow.
yourself off,
Damn.
and then grab the pump because somewhere down the line, bro, I'm sure somebody has probably blew some shit up at the pump or caught a fire from from that. I mean, I've seen it on several uh, gas station pumps where it tells you to pretty much just touch the metal. They'll even have something metal right there for you to touch, like touch this before you
Wow.
start, or touch your car, or touch something before you actually start grabbing the pump. Because once that electricity hit the fuel, that's
Hmm.
it.
Wow.
You know what I mean? That shit's igniting. And I'm sure it's happened already. That'd be the reason why they have those type of
Mm.
advisories is because somewhere down the line it happened before. So
hey,
Mm.
now I was thinking when you said it has to be enough of the electricity going through it. Now, like you said, it has to be like a thing that makes like ups the voltage. That's what microwaves do. Like literally, like a microwave that you put food in. They have they call them microwaves because they didn't like want to call them nothing else because it's a thing inside of it called a microwave. And what it does is it takes in small volts like of electricity and it supercharges them to extremely high volts of electricity, and that's how it cooks the food. It
yeah,
makes it hot. It just supercharges the it's like an electromagnetic field in there, and it's just moving so fast. It speeds up the atoms, and so it's not really cooking it. It's just speeding up the atoms and pretty much pulling the moisture out of the food, pretty much, or whatever's in there. Um, so, but when I was in like learning about appliances, they said you don't never really want to fuck with microwaves. Like repairing microwaves is not worth it. You might as well buy a new microwave because the things are extremely like they hold so much charge in them. If you hit it with like a screwdriver, the whole thing might explode. It's I mean it's a whole lot of electricity coming out of them things. So you never want to open a microwave ever, never ever.
yeah.
Like you might as well
I
like
try not to even.
dispose of it properly.
Yeah,
You don't want to go taking it apart because it's a fat ass thing. You can't miss it. It's real big and the new ones they're shielded so you can't really get to them that easy. But it's a big ass thing. It's a microwave and it's just a real tight copper coil like how he had on the little thing. Just tight copper coils. Just a whole bunch of little coils. And apparently when the small charge goes through it, the more it goes around in a circle, it gets stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger until eventually it's at its strongest at the last coil, and that's the output. At least that's how I think it was explained to me when I was learning about this shit. They said it pretty
yeah,
much just because they said electricity, if you let it, if you give it at least the least amount of resistance you give it, allows it to go faster. Because electricity is only slowed down by its resistance. So just give it the least amount of resistance, and you get the most out of it. So the least amount of resistance for electricity is a circle or a complete circuit. So as it goes around that coil once, it keeps going faster and faster as it gets around. It goes around because it's less and less uh, resistance as it goes. Man, nigga, whatever, nigga. Nigga, my brain is starting to hurt. Uh,
Yeah.
this kid's. I don't know who gave him a backyard to play in like that. Like I think one day, like, it's like you let your kid go in the backyard to go play, and this nigga builds a reactor. Like, what do you do? Like, do you support that nigga? Like, this nigga got a nuclear reactor in the back.
I don't know. Yeah, that's a hard. I don't know what. Shit, I wouldn't even know what to do, to be honest.
I would just call MIT. Like, what do I do with them? Y'all got a room over there?
I'd call somebody to make sure that shit ain't emitting like no harmful like radiation or nothing like that first, you know.
Yeah, that's a
And if it's
fact.
not, then then I pat him on the back and say shit you on to something. But I try to make sure it ain't like killing, ain't fucking nuking nothing, or no radioactivity shit's going on. That's the reason why I don't really use the microwave. But I try to when it comes to heating up food, like that's something I just don't do. I don't really use the microwave for that. Like my microwave kind of just sits in the house. I don't really I may heat up maybe like some water or something if I'm on the go. If I you know it's rare I use the microwave, bro. I ain't gonna lie. We don't really use the microwave because it got so much it it radiates your food. It puts radiation in the food. You know what I'm saying? And then just years and years of microwaving. Motherfuckers wonder why they walk around here with cancer and shit. I mean, it's a lot of shit that contributes to shit like that. And the microwave is most definitely one of them.
It's a fact.
I learned that at a young age to not use a microwave. If all else fail, I'll take like my leftovers or something and just reheat them up in like the skillet. Or I got the air fryer now. I think that's a little more safer. So it actually causes you to change up your eating habits because I mean we don't really have leftovers because it's like shit we ain't about to microwave it. If you do, you just use this. If you gotta heat it up, just use the stove. So most of the time, shit just get ate up, or if it don't get ate, it get thrown away. Because
Or
I ain't about
or
to.
or cook better so motherfuckers eat that
Yeah,
shit. Cook better. Fresher
that too.
ingredients. Hey,
Okay,
hold on. So I think he tried to solve the problem we were just talking about. It says it's a magnifying transmitter. So maybe, you know,
today I'm going to be running the magnifying
Is
transmitter
Naomi
that
in
I
the
built.
back?
what happened?
Is Naomi in the back?
Let me see. Let me
Oh,
check. Oh
she
hell
left.
yeah, yeah she is. What's up?
Yeah, she's in the back.
You don't see my screen on the live, man. I couldn't see it.
Hey.
What's up? What's up?
Nothing, just getting home.
This kid Parker Edmonson is pretty cool, huh? My man built a microwave in the backyard, and he's trying to send electricity to different
Is
places on
that what he
Earth.
was building? I was looking at it. I was like, what was he building?
Yeah, he's built.
But see, he's using a lot of shit just to turn on a light bulb. But I mean, like I said,
Yeah,
he's got the right idea. I mean, he's definitely he's definitely on to something. But it's taking a lot. It seems like a lot. It's a lot of stuff just to get that one light bulb on. So I'd imagine trying to power up a house or something like that. You probably need fucking like 20 of those little shits just
yeah.
to probably more. I mean, but I mean or just I'm sure he got it figured out, but he could probably he probably was starting right there, but he'll probably turn around in a year from now and fucking find something more compact than that
That's a
to
fact.
operate, to get a better effect than what get more power out of what he's trying to do or whatever.
Yeah, man. I think it's cool, and I think it's cool that we able to see shit like this when it first is happening, cause the internet. You know what I mean? Like, if it do pop, you know what I mean, or if it don't, it's so many things we get to be a part of. If this is one of them, bruh, listen, this is cool, man. This is real cool, cause they got that water project in Africa, so
Yeah,
they got that technology to go out there and find the reservoirs, them deep pockets of water, and you to pretty much nourish big pieces of land. You know what I mean? So And then you got Akon over there with the electricity, and you got somebody else over there with the electricity. So yeah, man, this is the beginning.
And tuned to transmit at a frequency of 168 kilohertz or 168,000 hertz. So I noticed in my previous videos about the magnifying transmitter in the comments that people think that one receiving coil built to receive the power from this magnifying transmitter will only power one LED light bulb. This is not the case. It can power many LED light bulbs on one receiving coil. I also noticed in the comments that people want to know how many LEDs I could run off of this thing. Well, considering I'm feeding the tank circuit with 50,000 watts from this transformer, I could at least run 50,000 watts. But I know I can run a little bit more than that, because this whole thing is a transformer as well. And this transformer is far bigger than this one. One thing that's special about this transformer, the magnifying transmitter, is that it can tune to certain frequencies. I also see in the comments that people want to know how this is wireless. Well, this is like a radio transmitter, and the receiving coil is like a radio. The only difference being this electricity is sent into the ground or the earth, and the earth behaves as the wire. So instead of stringing up telephone poles, you have the whole planet Earth, or the whole sphere of Earth is the wire. First, I will throw the switch for the rotary spark gap.
Is he a doctor? Because it says doctor. I'm like, wait, is he a doctor? What is he saying?
No, I don't think he's a doctor. No.
So why does he have doctor in front of the name?
Nah, he ain't no doctor, man. He may. I mean, he may be studying to get a doctorate.
He may refer to himself as that, but I'm sure he don't got no actual doctrine. But he may just call himself that.
I don't know, man. I don't know. But he just answered our questions, 420.
Dr. Parkenstein? Okay.
Parkinson's. Yeah, Parkinson's. But he just answered our question, 420.
Yeah.
How much electricity could it dole out? Right? So, calm down, gang. How much electricity could it dole out? So he's saying it can light more than one bulb. And he's like, that's off that one transformer that's 50K. He said the other one's way has a lot more power, and he confirmed what I was thinking. He said, all you need is a radio, which is a smaller thing, and then tune it to the right frequency, and the entire planet Earth is the wire. He didn't say that it loses any amount of power or anything like that. He just said, tune it to the frequency, and the power will get there. Now, I think whatever power is being sent out initially, that's what's going to come out of the other end. Maybe by a few. I don't think it's going to be interrupted a lot. I think that's what he's trying to say. Because the earth has a lot of water on it. Water is a great conductor of electricity. If he puts it in the ground goes all the way down to within the earth. If you're really going to be super nerdy about it. What the fuck, dude?
The rotary spark gap acts as a switch which opens and closes at a certain frequency to control the charging of the capacitors in the tank circuit, which includes the primary of the magnifying transmitter, which is an inductor, and the capacitors. That primary of the magnifying transmitter is also the primary of the transformer, because the magnifying transmitter is a transformer. So this 400 amp knife switch right here goes to the transformer, which feeds the tank circuit, so that 50,000 watt transformer. This meter right here shows how many amps the magnifying transmitter is pulling. And this thing right here is a welder that I'm using to ballast the transformer, because if I didn't do that, it would take in more and more current until it caused a brownout. Okay, here we go. Now I light this fluorescent tube wirelessly.
Bruh.
That just seems like so much for that.
My bad, y'all. I'm driving, but I hear y'all. I'm here.
That
Yeah.
seems like so much for that. You just cited that one little thing?
I mean, I think
Or am I lost?
the part that intrigues me is that it works at all. Like he's sending the electricity through the air that he can use. Like he can use electricity that's in the air, like wireless electricity. Like they lit
Well, I
Nicola.
didn't see it from the beginning. I seen the little video you sent, and I was trying to understand it, but I was in the middle of the baby shower. But I don't get what he's really doing. I see he's doing the electricity, but it looked like it was like so much of a setup for that
Yeah,
one little thing.
yeah. It takes a lot to generate that much electricity. For like okay, so let me see. Let me do this. Let me do this. Y'all already know who's on my panel. We don't need to worry about that part. We're gonna change the this. No. Y'all was okay. All right, cool. We're done with that part. We're gonna move this over here. Yes, sir, Rainy. You see how easy it is to just, you know. Okay, so what this is the wireless electricity whole thing. Nikola Tesla did this first. This is a Tesla coil he's making. The only difference between this thing and the Tesla coil is the Tesla coil sent the electricity up and out just into the air as wireless electricity. What this kid did was the same thing, but except he not only put the electricity in the air, but he also put the electricity into the ground. So the electricity is wireless and stationary. It's static and it's dynamic naturally, just like electricity. I gotta pull up the Tesla coil. Hold on. Okay, let me see here. There we go. Is this
Inventions. The Tesla coil, 1891. The inventor, Nikola Tesla, had dreamed of supplying the world with electricity wirelessly. Tesla developed a device in 1891 which could produce bolts of high-voltage electricity, known as the Tesla coil. The device has a primary coil which passes a current onto a secondary coil, creating a high voltage and low current, which shoots out a lightning-like discharge. Tesla put on demonstrations showing how the Tesla coil could be used to power light bulbs wirelessly nearby. He also held the light bulbs up close to the Tesla coil, powering them without harm to himself. From 1899 to 1900, Tesla built a new laboratory in Colorado Springs, and it is here that he built a larger version of his Tesla coil called the magnifying transmitter. It measured 51 feet or 15.5 meters in diameter and could reach outputs of up to 12 million volts. With this version of the Tesla coil, the inventor could light up 3 incandescent bulbs at 100 feet or 30 meters away. One night, the magnifying transmitter overloaded during an experiment, burning out the power station and turning the town dark, terrifying the locals. In 1901, with funding from businessmen, Tesla built his next larger transmitter, this time in New York, named the Wardenclyffe Tower. Tesla had acquired the investment by pitching his proposed World Wireless System as a way of communicating across the world by broadcasting messages, as well as delivering electricity wirelessly. Physicist and radio pioneer Guglielmo Marconi would send the first Atlantic wireless transmission in 1901 using Tesla's ideas, but Tesla was not interested in wireless messages as much as wireless power. Nevertheless, while wireless messaging worked, there was no proof that wireless power could work beyond a short range. By 1904, Tesla's investors had pulled out, and with staggering debts, the Wardenclyffe Tower was eventually demolished in 1917. In the early 20th century, the Tesla coil would be used for a number of things, including radios, medicine, X-rays, electrotherapy, and for entertainment. But in the present day, the Tesla coil has been replaced by more modern circuitry. Subscribe for more history videos.
And he was white. You saw what they did to him? He was white. The shit works. He said, but wait. He said, but we gotta get... What about giving people power? They said, what? You see how deep that is? He wanted to give people power. He said, you want to give power? You said, you want to give people power? What? Shit, man. Died broke trying to give people power. That's crazy. And you know they said they tested it out and sent the first wireless transmission. What they said this was back in the day, like in the 60s or something.
1890, 1899, 1890 something.
Yeah. So
He said.
you know what they just admitted? They just admitted they sent the first text message.
Wow.
Exactly, years ago.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, they got a lot of stuff in the works they don't let us know about. But I was looking into some stuff in this class I'm in as well, and they say, like, you know, the presidents and stuff, like, you know, they take oaths and not telling us a lot of stuff because they know it'll create chaos. And so they're like, okay, would you rather create chaos for this or that, or just not say anything and keep it between a certain amount of people? And they do that a lot, but they have this information for years. So we could probably be on other planets by now, really, but they just keeping it a secret, you know?
That's
With
crazy.
this Elon Musk stuff that he
Elon
wants
Musk.
to build. Yeah, he wants to, you know, have it to where we're not taking trips to different countries. We're now taking trips from planet to planet, you know. That was like his bigger picture type deal thing.
Y'all ever heard of a Dyson sphere?
Nope.
All right, so we're gonna switch it a little bit. This is just a general science topic. If y'all, you know, oh, I need to drop that. I need to drop that StreamYard link because we got some minds. We got some minds in these YouTube spaces. You feel me? But okay, so you were talking about traveling to other planets, right? This is a hold on. Let me see. What was it? How to build a Dyson sphere? Nope. Which one was it? It's not. It wasn't 6 years ago. I think it was a TED Talk. Hold on. Yeah, I think it was a TED Talk. Okay, so now it's pretty interesting.
Extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. And it is my job, my responsibility as an astronomer, to remind people that alien hypotheses should always be a last resort. Now, I want to tell you a story about that. It involves data from a NASA mission, ordinary people, and one of the most extraordinary stars in our galaxy. We began in 2009 with the launch of NASA's Kepler mission. Kepler's main scientific objective was to find planets outside of our solar system. It did this by staring at a single field in the sky, this one with all the tiny boxes. And in this one field, it monitored the brightness of over 150,000 stars continuously for 4 years, taking a data point every 30 minutes. It was looking for what astronomers call a transit. This is when the planet's orbit is aligned in our line of sight, just so that the planet crosses in front of a star. And when this happens, it blocks out a tiny bit of starlight, which you can see as a dip in this curve. And so the team at NASA had developed very sophisticated computers to search for transits in all the Kepler data. At the same time of the first data release, astronomers at Yale were wondering an interesting thing. What if computers miss something? And so we launched the citizen science project called Planet Hunters to have people look at the same data. The human brain has an amazing ability for pattern recognition, sometimes even better than a computer. However, there was a lot of skepticism around this. My colleague, Deborah Fisher, founder of the Planet Hunters project, said that people at the time were saying, "You're crazy. There's no way that a computer will miss a signal." And so it was on, the classic human versus machine gamble. And if we found one planet, we would be thrilled. When I joined the team 4 years ago, we had already found a couple. And today, with the help of over 300,000 science enthusiasts, we have found dozens. And we've also found one of the most mysterious stars in our galaxy. So to understand this, let me show you what a normal transit in Kepler data looks like. On this graph, on the left-hand side, you have the amount of light, and on the bottom is time. The white line is the light just from the star, what astronomers call a light curve. Now, when a planet transits a star, it blocks out a little bit of this light, and the depth of this transit reflects the size of the object itself. And so, for example, let's take Jupiter. Planets don't get much bigger than Jupiter. Jupiter will make a 1% drop in a star's brightness. Earth, on the other hand, is 11 times smaller than Jupiter, and signal is barely visible in the data. So back to our mystery. A few years ago, Planet Hunters were sifting through data looking for transits, and they spotted a mysterious signal coming from the star KIC 8462852. The observations in May of 2009 were the first they spotted, and they started talking about this in the discussion forums. They said an object like Jupiter will make a drop like this in the star's light, but they're also saying it was giant. You see, transits normally only last for a few hours, and this one lasted for almost a week. They were also saying that it looks asymmetric, meaning that instead of the clean U-shaped dip that we saw with Jupiter, it had the strange slope that you can see on the left side. This seemed to indicate that whatever is getting in the way and blocking the starlight was not circular like a planet. There are a few more dips that happened, but for a couple of years, it was pretty quiet. And then, in March of 2011, we see this. The star's light drops by a whole 15%. And this is huge compared to a planet, which would only make a 1% drop. We describe this feature as both smooth and clean. It also is asymmetric, having a gradual dimming that lasts almost a week, and then it snaps right back up to normal in just a matter of days. And again, after this, not much happens. Until February of 2013, things just start to get really crazy. There is a huge complex of dips in the light curve that appear, and they last for like 100 days, all the way up into the Kepler mission's end. These dips have variable shapes. Some are very sharp and some are broad, and they also have variable durations. Some last just for a day or two, and some for more than a week. And there's also up and down trends within some of these dips, almost like several independent events were superimposed on top of each other. And at this time, this star drops in its brightness over 20%. This means that whatever is blocking its light has an area of over 1,000 times the area of our planet Earth. This is truly remarkable. And so the citizen scientists, when they saw this, they notified the science team that they found something weird enough that it might be worth following up. And so when the science team looked at it, we're like, yeah, there's probably just something wrong with the data. But we looked really, really, really hard, and the data were good. And so what was happening had to be astrophysical, meaning that something in space was getting in the way and blocking starlight. And so at this point, we set out to learn everything we could about the star to see if we could find any clues to what was going on. And the citizen scientists who helped us in this discovery, they joined along for the ride, watching science in action firsthand. First, somebody said, well, what if this star was actually very young and it still had the cloud of material it was born from surrounding it? And then somebody else said, well, what if the star had already formed planets, and two of these planets had collided, similar to the Earth-Moon forming event? Well, both of these theories could explain part of the data, but the difficulties were that the star showed no signs of being young, and there was no glow from any of the material that was heated up by the star's light. And you would expect this if the star was young, or if there was a collision and a lot of dust was produced. And so somebody else said, well, how about a huge swarm of comets that are passing by the star in a very elliptical orbit? Well, it ends up that this is actually consistent with our observations. But I agree, it does feel a little contrived. You see, it would take hundreds of comets to reproduce what we're observing. And these are only the comets that happen to pass between us and the star. And so, in reality, we're talking thousands to tens of thousands of comets. But of all the bad ideas we had, this one was the best. And so we went ahead and published our findings. Now let me tell you, this was one of the hardest papers I ever wrote. Scientists are meant to publish results, and this situation was far from that. And so we decided to give it a catchy title, and we called it Where's the Flux? I will let you work out the acronym. So this isn't the end of the story. Around the same time I was writing this paper, I met with a colleague of mine, Jason Wright, and he was also writing a paper on Kepler data. And he was saying that with Kepler's extreme precision, it could actually detect alien megastructures around stars, but it didn't. And then I showed him this weird data that our citizen scientists had found, and he said to me, crap, Tabby, now I have to rewrite my paper. So yes, the natural explanations were weak. And we were curious now, so we had to find a way to rule out aliens. So together, we convinced a colleague of ours who works on SETI, the Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence, that this would be an extraordinary target to pursue. We wrote a proposal to observe the star with the world's largest radio telescope at the Green Bank Observatory. A couple months later, news of this proposal got leaked to the press. And now there are thousands of articles, over 10,000 articles, on this star alone. And if you search Google Images, this is what you'll find. Now, you may be wondering, okay, Tabby, well, how do aliens actually explain this light curve? Okay, well, imagine a civilization that's much more advanced than our own. In this hypothetical circumstance, the civilization would have exhausted the energy supply of their home planet. So where could they get more energy? Well, they have a host star, just like we have a sun. And so if they were able to capture more energy from this star, then that would solve their energy needs. So they would go and build huge structures. These giant megastructures, like ginormous solar panels, are called Dyson spheres. This image above are lots of artists' impressions of Dyson spheres. It's really hard to provide perspective on the vastness of these things. But you can think of it this way. The Earth-Moon distance is 250,000 miles. The simplest element on one of these structures is 100 times that size. They're enormous. And now imagine one of these structures in motion around the star. You can see how it would produce anomalies in the data, such as uneven, unnatural-looking dips. But it remains that even alien megastructures cannot defy the laws of physics. You see, anything that uses a lot of energy is going to produce heat. And we don't observe this. But it could be something as simple as they're just rewriting it away in another direction, just not at Earth. Another idea that's one of my personal favorites is that we had just witnessed an interplanetary space battle and the catastrophic destruction of a planet. Now, I admit that this would produce a lot of dust that we don't observe, but if we're already invoking aliens in this explanation, then who's to say they didn't efficiently clean up all this mess for recycling purposes? You can see how this quickly captures your imagination. Well, there you have it. We're in a situation that could unfold to be a natural phenomenon we don't understand or an alien technology we don't understand. Personally, as a scientist, my money's on the natural explanation. But don't get me wrong, I do think it would be awesome to find aliens. Either way, there is something new and really interesting to discover. So what happens next? We need to continue to observe the star to learn out more what's happening. But professional astronomers, like me, we have limited resources for this kind of thing. And Kepler is on to a different mission. And I'm happy to say that, once again, citizen scientists have come in and saved the day. You see, this time, amateur astronomers with their backyard telescopes stepped up immediately and started observing the star nightly at their own facilities. And I am so excited to see what they find. What's amazing to me is that this star would have never been found by computers because we just weren't looking for something like this. And what's more exciting is that there's more data to come. There are new missions that are coming up that are observing millions of more stars all over the sky. And just think, what will it mean when we find another star like this? And what will it mean if we don't find another star like this? Thank you.
Yo, man. What do y'all think? Y'all think they got so smart they put solar panels around the star so they can survive, or you think
Hell no.
This is crazy? Yeah,
I
crazy.
think motherfuckers is crazy.
Them motherfuckers crazy. Alright, we're gonna go with them motherfuckers crazy. Could the Earth be small? Yes, it can be. All right, there's one more thing I wanted to look at after the Dyson sphere. Something a little bit more realistic. Proxima B. We're gonna look at Proxima B, and then we're gonna end this thing. Let me see. Something unusual is going on with Proxima B. That was 4 months ago. Let's see the most recent ones.
I've honestly never really believed in the whole alien thing. I don't know.
Hey.
Many people have a hard time processing the idea of extraterrestrial life. Those who do subscribe to these views are categorically labeled as conspiracy theorists. But what if the warning indicators are right in front of us, but we keep ignoring them? It was reported on December 18 last year that a mysterious signal was coming from Proxima Centauri, a star close to our own. It is also known as Proxima Centauri b. Proxima Centauri is a star that is only 4.2 light-years away and is too faint for us to see with the naked eye from Earth. What might this signal represent, and what does the following material indicate? The detected signal. Using Australia's Parkes Observatory to monitor Proxima Centauri, the team was conducting a 10-year hunt for alien broadcasts from the nearest million stars when they discovered the unusual signal, which they named BLC-1. Observations were done between April and May 2019 to detect the radio waves. It's pretty expected that now and then you'll see something weird, but this is interesting because it's weird that they were having to think about the next steps, says Sophia Sheik, a graduate student at Pennsylvania State University and the breakthrough team member leading the signal analysis. BLC-1 is the most compelling discovery Breakthrough has made so far in its hunt for alien intelligence, or SETI, even though Sheik and others strongly suspect that the signal is human in origin. The team is working on 2 articles describing the signal and an incomplete follow-up investigation. Researchers continue to analyze the signal and what it could mean, while experts caution that a terrestrial explanation is involved. So all of you conspiracy theorists, I bet you're excited. There's a lot of talk about sensationalism in SETI, says Andrew Simon, Breakthrough Listen's principal investigator. The reason we're so excited about SETI and why we dedicated our careers to it is the same reason the public gets so excited about it. It's aliens. It's awesome. 1960 and onward. For more than 60 years, researchers have been looking for radio signals similar to these in our outer space and our atmosphere. Unlike the radio waves the cosmos naturally produces, these whispers from extraterrestrials are said to mirror the transmissions people employ to communicate. Only a tiny portion of radio frequencies would be used for these communications. They would also show a distinct drift that would show the source is moving either towards or away from Earth, which would be another clue that the radio source is coming from a distant cosmic object, such as a planet orbiting a star. Only human technology seems to produce signals like that, Sheik says. Our Wi-Fi, cell towers, GPS, satellite radio, all of this looks exactly like the signals we're searching for, making it very hard to tell if something is from space or human-generated technology. Astronomers have found a lot of possible signals over the years. Some originated from as-yet undiscovered celestial sources like pulsars, fast rotating dead star carcasses that radiate radio waves into space. Initially, it appeared like the first known fast radio burst, brief radio wave bursts that are still a little mysterious, could be man-made messages. Periton signals, less intense radio emission bursts, initially puzzled researchers until they discovered a microwave oven as their source. BLC-1 could emanate from anything that isn't transmitting as it should, such as an unidentified spacecraft, an aircraft flying overhead, a transmitter on Earth close to the telescope's line of sight, or even something more commonplace. All of our SETI experiments are conducted in an absolute sea of interference. There are tons of signals, Simon says. It comes down to being able to tell the difference between a very distant techno-signature and our technology. Some signals that astronomers haven't been able to conclusively attribute to a natural source, such as the well-known WOW signal detected by Ohio State University Radio Observatory, also known as Big Ear, in 1977. It appeared at first that this intensely dazzling assault of radio waves was a genuine SETI discovery, but nobody has been able to confirm it or locate it again. The signal. Breakthrough Listen began a 10-year hunt in 2015 with funding from Silicon Valley mogul Yuri Milner, but the team hasn't discovered anything concrete in their scans of the skies. Breakthrough began pointing at the Parkes telescope at Proxima Centauri in April 2019. This wasn't necessarily done to look for extraterrestrial life, but to learn more about the enormous flares that small red dwarf stars like Proxima regularly release. Shane Smith, a student at Hillside College in Michigan working with Breakthrough, was analyzing those data this summer when he noticed BLC-1 emanating from the star. BLC-1 passed all of the tests the Breakthrough team performs to screen out the millions of signals produced by humans. Despite the signal's obscurity, it had a small bandwidth, seemed to vary in frequency, and vanished when the telescope focused on something other than Proxima. 4 such signals appeared during the next few days, though some have been ruled out as radio interference. Our algorithm is very optimistic about what might be alien technology, Sheik says. But this is super exciting because we've never gotten to the stage where the algorithm found something interesting. According to Seth Shostak of the SETI Institute, if BLC-1 is, against all chances, a postcard from the star system next door, then statistically speaking, the Milky Way must be utterly crammed with communicative civilizations. In this scenario, our galaxy would contain more than 500 million societies, which sounds like a lot. What's next for this signal? Since the discovery, the team has re-examined Proxima Centauri but has not discovered anything. In addition to keeping the Parkes telescope pointed at Proxima, researchers are devising new tests to identify the source of the signal. If you want to make any scientific statement, you're going to need to be able to re-observe and replicate the phenomenon, Sheik said. That's just how the science method works. The SETI Institute's Jill Tarter told me earlier this year that developing new tests and painstakingly attempting to determine the source of a signal is a natural aspect of the SETI mission, and one for which everyone can learn and gain. We're looking for something else out there, someone else out there, Tarter said. To suddenly see interference and think it might be what we're looking for, and then figure out what we have to do to be able to discriminate and to have confidence in any result that we might get, that's a good lesson. Simon says that evaluating BLC-1 has taught the team much about testing their data. Follow-up observations of Proxima Centauri will be valuable for understanding how such stars behave and achieving a comprehensive SETI search of a nearby star system with known planets, even if technologically savvy aliens don't populate it. Ultimately, I think we'll be able to convince ourselves that BLC-1 is interference, Simon says, but the result will certainly be that it makes our experiments more powerful in the future. If extraterrestrial life does exist out there, then this might be its way of trying to reach out to us. Or it could be another false alarm in our vast cosmos. The Proxima Centauri might have glitches, but it is human nature to be inquisitive and cook up theories we might not want to believe.
Damn, that's interesting, man. Alright, so Shelly says she don't believe in aliens at all. I don't know about 420. 420, you believe in aliens, man?
Somewhat.
Somewhat. Okay. Okay. What about you,
Yeah,
Naomi? What you
somewhat.
think about aliens? All right, Naomi might be busy. We
I
got
honestly,
Black.
I honestly feel like, if there ain't aliens out there, I feel like there's definitely other galaxies that can what's the word, that can sustain life like us. Like there may be other human beings in other planets, just like Earth. Because Earth is so big, there's so many other galaxies. Each galaxy has, according to scientists, each galaxy has a sun. You know what I mean? So I mean, I would assume that there's probably other planets that are inhabitable, just like Earth. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And
Mhm.
and can possibly be other. It could be a whole other Earth somewhere else. A few of them. And to us, I mean, those are aliens. I mean, they may look like us and talk like us, but they're not of our solar system and our planet, so they would be considered aliens to us. But in actuality, they probably look just like us, going through the same things we going through. You know what I mean? And then just because I don't know, I just feel like God didn't just create us. I feel like there's other things out there as well that were created. You know what I mean? Like I said, other planets that sustain other different type of life forms, possibly. I mean, just through the history of American history, it just seems like we've already encountered like that side of extraterrestrials already kind of coming here. I think if for our water,
I don't mean to
Mhm.
cut you off 420, but Jeanette said they have plays in space.
can't
They
even take that
running. She
serious.
said Jeanette said they running plays in space. Ah man, that's funny. All right, hold on. Let me. I forgot the damn StreamYard link ain't in the chat, but I feel you 420. I agree, bro. I feel like it's a little. I don't know. I just think it's a little silly to 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 believe that the universe exists and believe that we're the only ones that's living and breathing and talking, bro. Like
Yeah, of course.
life is gonna find a way, bro. Like
The hunt for intelligent life in the universe has taken an exciting turn with the discovery of Proxima b. The elusive planet seems like the best candidate yet to have the capability of supporting life on its surface. While astronomers have yet to visually confirm the planet, its presence has been observed thanks to the gravity it exerts on other celestial bodies around it. New reports state that the James Webb Space Telescope may have just detected evidence of artificial lights on Proxima b. Let's take a closer look. 6 years ago, scientists made one of the most exciting exoplanet discoveries so far, a rocky planet similar in size to Earth, orbiting the nearest star to the Sun, Proxima Centauri. While the detection seemed solid, more confirmation is always good, and now the espresso spectrograph on the Very Large Telescope in Chile has provided that extra and more detailed confirmation. The news was announced by the University of Geneva on May 28, 2020, and the planet was named Proxima Centauri b. In the past several years, astronomers have found a large and growing number of Earth-sized exoplanets orbiting distant stars. Some are in the habitable zones of their stars, where temperatures might allow liquid water to exist on their surfaces. That is exciting in itself, but Proxima Centauri b is of particular interest since it's orbiting the closest star to our Sun, only 4.2 light-years away. Its confirmation underscores current findings that such worlds are common in our galaxy. Proxima Centauri b is very similar in size to Earth, with a mass of 1.17 Earth masses. It orbits its star in only 11.2 days, in contrast to our Earth's year-long orbit around our Sun. That means Proxima Centauri b is a lot closer to its star than Earth is to the Sun. But, because the star is a red dwarf, much
Okay, so their year is 11 days, and they're closer to their star, so it's hotter. So they have a hotter climate. So it's like their entire planet is like Brazil. That's fire.
I'm sure whatever life forms is there though has well over adapted to that shit though.
Oh hell yeah, hell yeah. I'm just thinking about the super tropical, super watery. What if it's water? What if it's marine life? You know, like just straight up water, like mostly water shit, just like
Yeah.
mermaids and shit. You see what I'm
For
saying?
all we know, they may have. For all we know, it may be like underwater cities in that planet.
That's
You
what
know,
I'm
they may have a
saying.
whole community of civilization living underwater, and you know they've adapted to that, and all they eat is like they may come up every now and then to who knows do whatever they got to do on their surface, but they may spend the majority of their days underwater.
That's a fact. All right, man.
smaller and cooler than our Sun, its orbit is indeed within the habitable zone of Proxima Centauri. Interestingly, Proxima Centauri b receives about the same amount of solar energy from its star that Earth does from our Sun. So, theoretically, Proxima Centauri b could have water on its surface. It could be habitable, but of course, we don't yet know all the details about the habitability of exoplanets. We do know that many factors affect a planet's habitability, such as temperature, the composition of the planet, and atmosphere, water, and radiation from its sun. Red dwarfs like Proxima Centauri are known to emit flares, and these flares make habitability for red dwarf exoplanets even more complex and interesting. Astronomers first found Proxima Centauri b in 2016 using an older spectrograph called HARPS. The newer spectrograph, Espresso, said to be the most accurate in the world, was able to conduct radial velocity measurements on Proxima Centauri that are the most precise to date. A total of 63 spectroscopic observations of Proxima Centauri were acquired by Espresso in 2019. The new confirmation of Proxima Centauri b is exciting, but there may be more surprises in store. There is also possible evidence of another and smaller planet in the newest data. Secondary detection was also made, although it isn't certain whether it is a planet. If it is even smaller than Proxima Centauri b. If it is a planet, it would be more akin to Mars or Mercury in size and mass, estimated at a minimum Earth mass of 0.29 plus or minus 0.08, and orbits the star in only 5.15 days. It wouldn't be too surprising, though, since low-mass stars like red dwarfs tend to have multiple planets in their systems. More observations will be required to either confirm or refute this possible second planet. But wait, there's more! Last January, another research team announced their finding of another possible planet orbiting Proxima Centauri, called Proxima Centauri c. This one is also still just a candidate at this point, but, if real, it is about 6 times as massive as Earth. This would make it a super-Earth, planets that are significantly larger and more massive than Earth, but smaller and less massive than Neptune. It is estimated to orbit the star every 5.2 years. If both of the new candidates were to be confirmed, that would mean Proxima Centauri would have at least 3 planets orbiting it.
What? Wait a minute. So that one red dwarf could possibly have multiple planets in its star system that are habitable. Dog, that's so fucking fire. It's like you literally live on a whole planet and you literally have like a little brother planet and like y'all are looking out for it. Like, bruh, don't do this in 5 years. We'll be back if y'all start fucking up. And it's like that's crazy.
Proxima Centauri is the nearest star to our Sun, although it is part of a 3-star system including the 2 stars of Alpha Centauri. They may be the closest stars, but the planets don't transit in front of Proxima Centauri as seen from Earth, as most exoplanets are found, so astronomers have had to use the radial velocity method to find them, where the planet's gravity causes a slight wobble in the star's motion. While little is known so far about what Proxima Centauri b is actually like, just the fact that it exists around the nearest star to our solar system supports previous research showing that Earth-sized and super-Earth-sized exoplanets are common in our galaxy. That is exciting and bodes well for the search for life elsewhere. One potential problem, though, is that red dwarf stars are very energetic and emit dangerous radiation that could strip the atmospheres off of planets that are too close. Whether this is the case for Proxima Centauri b is not known yet. If it does still have a substantial atmosphere, it would be an ideal target for other telescopes to look for possible biomarkers and chemical signatures of life. The confirmation of Proxima Centauri b, now the nearest confirmed exoplanet, is exciting. Its potential habitability and proximity to our solar system give us something to think about. It's another big step towards finding an inhabited world beyond Earth, and the newly launched James Webb Space Telescope may have done just that. The JWST is a state-of-the-art space telescope that is a culmination of 30 years of research and development, costing $10 billion. Calling it one of the grandest scientific endeavors of the 21st century wouldn't be a stretch, as it represents the future of space observation and one of the things we will rely on the most to increase our understanding of the universe in the coming decades. The telescope will have the capability to see just about anything in the sky, but its main objective will be to observe light coming from the very first stars to shine in the universe. This will make it possible for us to see the moment when darkness ended and the first stars came into existence for the first time. Because of the complexity of the equipment, the James Webb Space Telescope has had to sit through various delays in development, but now that it is operational, it will help us answer some of humanity's greatest mysteries. Having the ability to accurately trace sources of light millions of miles away is one of the biggest reasons why the telescope may be the first piece of equipment in history to finally discover traces of intelligent life in the universe. And as Proxima b seems to be one of the leading candidates to host an alien civilization, the telescope may be our only hope for finding answers. The first clue of the possibility of intelligent life on Proxima b was discovered back in 2019 when a strange signal was picked up coming from the direction of the planet by the Parkes Radio Telescope in Australia. Although the reports are still a bit unclear, the signal reportedly showed up during 5 different 30-minute periods over several days while the telescope was directly pointing towards the planet. Based on the information available so far, the signal was concentrated into an extremely narrow range of frequencies. This points toward it being artificial and distinctly unlike any known natural radio sources. One of the most lingering questions at stand is that if the signal does turn out to be of extraterrestrial origin, should humanity send them a reply or not? However, our technological limitations mean it would take just over a decade for the message to reach the planet. The next step in this discovery is to identify all possible sources of terrestrial interference in the data collected from the strange signal. Since such a massive discovery will change the course of human history and our understanding of the cosmos forever, the scientists involved are rightly taking every step necessary to correctly identify the origins of this signal. One of the ways this can be achieved is by observing the planet through the James Webb Telescope. When viewing the Earth from space, the most obvious sign that a civilization calls the planet home is the glow of lights from the night side of our planet. The massive cities which are visible from above emit light that is shed into the cosmos. The biggest problem we have had so far is the lack of technology to observe similar lights on planets outside our solar system, but this will all change thanks to the James Webb Telescope. Since the Proxima b is tidally locked with a permanent night side, scientists speculate that any intelligent civilization living on the planet may deploy powerful mirrors or use very bright LED-style lights to illuminate their cities. Just like Earth, the light from these cities will undoubtedly rise into space, where we may be able to see them for the first time. The new telescope has a wider spectrum view than any of its predecessors and will operate further out from the Earth in a solar orbit of 930,000 miles from home and will have the ability to detect these lights. Initial investigations have already been carried out to estimate if artificial lights can be detected on the dark side of Proxima b by computing light curves from the planet and its host star. The two different scenarios which could occur are artificial illumination on an identical spectrum as LEDs on Earth, or a narrower spectrum that leads to the same proportion of light as total artificial illumination on Earth. If the telescope can detect the narrow band light that is similar to LED bulbs, it will be because of its ability to characterize the atmosphere of the planet. This will allow researchers to use various instruments to detect how much energy transport takes place on the planet, and then perform calculations of light curves to determine whether whether they match those of an LED light source. If this is indeed the case, then we will be one step closer to concluding if Proxima b is a bastion for life outside our solar system. For all our city lights, the Earth's surface is only 0.05% urbanized. Our telescopes wouldn't be able to see us if they were parked at Proxima Centauri. A greater percentage of urbanization could help us see a distant civilization more clearly, like say 100%. But what exactly is 100% urbanization? An ecumenopolis. An ecumenopolis is a city planet, a world where the entire surface is covered in one giant city. Several examples exist in science fiction, such as the Human Empire capital planet of Trantor in Isaac Asimov's Foundation trilogy, and the Republic/Empire capital of Coruscant in Star Wars. But more than a geeky sci-fi concept, it's conceivable that an advanced civilization could completely encase their world in an unending urban landscape. How visible would such a world be? Scientists have found that future telescopes would be capable of detecting ecumenopolis worlds around 82 stars in the stellar neighborhood of the Sun. That's an astonishing amount of space. So, if somebody out there is shining that brightly, we may be able to see them in the coming decade. This research demonstrates that close-range red dwarf stars provide the best opportunity for detecting urban worlds, meaning Proxima b is the current prime target. Detecting an ecumenopolis version of Proxima b would be easy for next-generation telescopes. We could detect just 0.5% urbanization on the planet. That's still 10 times more than Earth's present urbanization. However, current city growth rates put the Earth at 0.5% within the next 100 years, a blink in stellar time. If an alien civilization does exist, it could have already reached this level of urbanization, assuming that technological civilizations are long-lived. And that's the thing, we don't know if technological civilizations are long-lived or not. That's one of the reasons why we do SETI. Finding someone else shining in the void means there's more hope that we can keep the lights on too. If you like this video, you may also enjoy this other one, which talks about the JWST and how it may have proven the existence of the multiverse. Do you think?
Yo, a ecumenopolis. A ecumenopolis. That's a what? Hold on. Ecumenopolis. I can't spell, dog. Hold on. What? Wait, hold on. Yep, there it goes. Ecumenopolis. There we go. Build your what? Is it this how it's spelled? Yeah. I spelled it right the first time. Hell yeah. Ecumenopolis. Stellaris. What is this, a video game? So anyways, before we go down the rabbit hole of planets and shit. Shit, I'm on StreamYard, so I could stream for as long as I want. An hour and 12 minutes, alright. But yeah, man. That shit is hella interesting. We can go down the rabbit hole, I guess. Let's see.
I give you the Derek Zoolander Center for Kids Who Can't Read Good.
What?
What is this? A center for ants? What?
Ecumenopolis, from the Greek meaning a world city. In this video, we're going to look at how to make one and then what we should do once we have one. If you enjoy this video, please encase that like button. There are a few ways.
Alright, no. That's a video game. That's not what I was looking for. I was looking for like a scientist talking about science things. Shaka Zoo. Okay. But I think that's as far as it goes, man. But your boy, hold on. Let's go back to where we started because we can't forget where we come from. You know what I mean? We gotta go back to my boy Parker Edmonson. Apparently he does an interview. No, he doesn't. Okay. Is he interviewing him? Oh yeah. Okay. Hold on.
Hello, hello.
We're not gonna watch the whole thing.
Welcome to another great episode of Wee Sam's World. If you're tuning in new, because you saw our awesome billboards in Hollywood, Adobe Radio, and everybody at the marketing team for their awesome billboards that we put up in something in your heart or something about it specifically.
Alright. Let me see. Wessam's World, 1.9K. Subscribe to your boy. Alright.
You think it is?
Well, I think just the warm, crackly music, like.
Mr. Parker, thank you so much for coming on the show. I've been a fan for a while, and I've got to say, man, you are one of my favorite accounts on the internet right now.
Thank you.
I mean, you're so unique, man. There's nobody I know who comes even close to you, and I just love how enveloped in the world of the 1920s or the early 1900s you are. And I've got to ask you, like, where did that start for you?
I mean, like a child on a swing, it'll go like around and get a boost, around and get a boost.
Very interesting. I could see why somebody would be passionate about this. This is the efficient way the natural universe works, and it's a shame that we haven't adopted this right.
Frequency in the Earth, I'm able to light like neon light bulbs and fluorescent.
Cool, man. I mean, when you build the magnifying transmitter, are you using it as well, or is it just kind of seeing if you could build it?
Well, I'm using it, but right now I'm experimenting with it and perfecting it because you have to tune it to a certain frequency. Because the Earth has this natural frequency, and if you tune to that frequency, it'll magnify what you're sending. So if you send electricity through the Earth, it's going to magnify that if you're at the right frequency. And right now I'm experimenting on trying to get the exact frequency I need to send electricity wirelessly, and I'm able to light like neon light bulbs and fluorescent light bulbs 50 feet away on my receiving coil right now.
Whoa.
In my first videos on TikTok, you can see that, like in the first videos.
Wow. Oh yeah, I seen one of those, I believe. Yes, yes, that's nuts. That's magic, basically, to somebody like me. I'm an actor, man. I'm an idiot. I have no clue what a lot of this stuff is. What do you mean by frequency with the Earth? What does that mean?
Okay, so like you know how an opera singer can shatter a glass if they sing at the right frequency?
Yes.
The Earth has a natural frequency, and if you send electricity at that frequency in the Earth, it'll magnify it because it'll go, like, say your transmitter's at the top of the Earth, and you have a receiving coil, like, somewhere away from it. If you send at the right frequency, it'll go around the Earth, and when it comes back, it'll get a push, like a swing, like a child on a swing. It'll go, like, around and get a boost, around and get a boost.
Very interesting. I could see why somebody would be passionate about this. This is the efficient way the natural universe works, and it's a shame that we haven't adopted this right now. Wow, man. You know what? I really get now why you're passionate about this, because it's the natural way things are, and you as a human being, of course you'd be naturally attuned to that if you have the right frequency yourself. That's pretty cool, man. Oh, man. Yeah. So do you think there's other parts in the world that have maybe the Earth in that certain area has a different frequency due to like geological formations, or like the ground is maybe magnetized in some way that might affect that?
I don't think so. I think the Earth is like, it has one natural frequency.
Okay.
Like a bell. If you have a bell and it rings at a certain frequency, it's always going to ring at that certain frequency because it's one solid object.
Oh, gotcha. You know what? If I was a multi-billionaire, I'd fund experiments for you. I'd make you travel across the world, be like, hey, is the frequency here the same as there? And we just see if it works out. Man, someday, Parker. Keep that in mind, okay? Who knows? I might win the lottery soon. How's your house coming along? You did a GoFundMe, right?
Yes. Okay, so I've got some money. I have like 2,000.
You motherfuckers in the black sector. I know. I see it too. Alright? But the kid's smart. Alright? God damn it.
641 on GoFundMe.
The dude that's interviewing him asked him, I wonder why, we haven't done this and done that. I mean, they have done that shit, but I mean, money is the root, you know what I'm saying? So they're not gonna fucking give us free electricity. They're gonna charge us for that. They have, so the sun is the most powerfulest shit out here. You know what I mean? Like, if they wanted to, they could invest, millions of dollars into solar panels that can literally charge all of our needs. You know what I mean? If they really, really wanted to. They really were concerned about electricity and all this stuff. They would put up way more windmills and have solar panels everywhere. You know what I'm saying? But they're not going to do that because of the money. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's big business, bro. Like, there's people that are multi-billionaires because we pay electricity bills and shit like that. So those type of entities, like powerful entities in America, aren't gonna sacrifice their money for a brand new invention that can give people free electricity. No, that's not what that's, because then it fucks them over. You see what I'm saying? And it's just like the gasoline, like, like they're not out here, they're not getting ready to be out here saying, oh, all you gotta do is put in, water tanks to everybody's car, and if you fill that up every morning, you can go 100 miles. You know what I mean? Like they're not gonna do that because then they lose billions of dollars, trillions of dollars in fuel. You know what I'm saying? And I mean that's just what it is. Like it's about the greed of money. You know what I mean? Like these motherfuckers, these and really it's the people that really run the world. You know what I mean? The people that are in control of the electricity, the water, the gas, and all that type of stuff. You know, they're not gonna what's the word? They're not gonna fucking budge when it comes to that because we've been we've been we've been so dependent on them and their system and how everything is already going right now. You know what I'm saying? So he can create all the earth frequency electricity he wants. I mean, they're not gonna apply that. You don't think that these motherfuckers ain't don't know what he knows? Trust me, there's scientists out here that know way more than him. You know what I'm saying? And they know that they probably had meetings like, yo, if we invest X amount of dollars into one big giant or a few big giant solar panels in certain corners of America, then everybody would have free electricity. You think they're gonna do that? Hell no.
Absolutely not. But
So
it's real interesting to watch it unfold. You see what I'm saying? Because I want to see how far they'll let that shit go. You know what I mean? Like how far they'll let it go before they try to shut it down or before it becomes a
right.
threat to the powers that be. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Now, if he wants to, in particular, invent his own little shit for his household and maybe a few others, as long as they don't get too outrageous, then okay. They're not gonna say shit. Like I said, if he wants to coil his whole backyard up and power his whole house up based off of what he's discovered, I mean, hey, so be it. You know what I'm saying? But have everybody on the same page as him, nah, they're not going for that.
Facts.
So far,
Okay.
but I mean, I'm trying to get the word out there and stuff.
Absolutely. And this is like a dream home for you, basically, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would. If I had the house, I'd like turn it into a museum. It was built in 1902, so I take it back exactly how it was in 1902. I'd have a wood stove, no TVs, no modern things, and then I could let people tour it as a museum, and my fans could come see the museum.
Okay, that clarifies it a little bit.
It keeps it at a nice 32 degrees on the inside.
Okay, for real? There's no way he's for real.
People were asking me if I was a character, and I was like, what?
Oh, man. Hey, I'm telling you, it's so cool what you're doing. I'll be honest with you. I wish there was a camera on my producer and I, Peyton's Faces, me and Peyton's Faces, whenever we first saw some of your videos, bro, I was flabbergasted. I'm like, this guy has, like, electricity flying out of this thing in his backyard. And I couldn't believe it. I mean, what it would take for me to build something like that, I'm telling you, it would take a lot. Is there any TikTok accounts or social media accounts that you like to follow and check up on?
I just I follow friends from my high school, and I follow family, and
okay.
But I mean, I don't really follow any famous. I mean, I don't follow other people than that on TikTok.
Yeah, you do you, man. I love that. You're like, you know what? I don't care. I'm just gonna do me. My music is very hardcore rock.
I learned the Charleston from it.
Wow. And you just watched it and just kind of tried to copy the dance moves and everything. That's pretty cool. That's right. I've read about that, actually. It's like a family's heirloom to remember their loved ones by. And sometimes it would get really morbid where...
I think I'm going to go cook on a wood stove today. Or,
Oh, I didn't show y'all. Naomi. I didn't show y'all, but, he has a couple videos on his channel where, he's, dressed in, really old, timey clothes and stuff like that. That's just his thing, man. And the funny thing is, he wants to give power to the world, but he doesn't even want modern things in his house. That's so. It's like he wants to see. Oh, look at Naomi. She has graced the screen with her presence. What's up, man? Anyways,
What's up?
now, this kid's really interesting. He's an interesting kid. I don't know. He might be homeschooled. I'm thinking he's homeschooled, but I mean, I just think it's weird that he wants to provide the world with electricity, free power pretty much, and he doesn't even he wants like a wood stove. He's talking about cooking on a wood stove, and I don't know. That's maybe he just maybe he understands that electricity is necessary, but like he doesn't really care for it. That's kind of
Maybe because it tastes better.
no, maybe
Yeah, a wooden stove. Yeah, to cook over like when you even grill and you have the what is that wood that my dad puts wood. I don't know when he's grilling, and that crap tastes bomb.
They got a few different woods. You can use like mesquite,
Yeah,
peach tree. You can use apple tree.
apple wood. Oh my god, apple.
my man Parker. This is a
He's so
strange.
monotone. Like
It's not
one.
monotone. It's like
What
feminine
is it
a little bit,
called?
but it's cool.
It's what?
It's feminine a little bit, but it's cool. Like
You think so?
he was raised by his people. Like it seems like he was homeschooled.
You think it's feminine?
But I mean, it seems like he was homeschooled. Like it's not a lot of bass. He was probably listen.
Nah, he just has one solid tone for a while. Like when I was watching, I was like, oh my god, like I need some enthusiasm or something going on. I need a little bit of.
Yeah, my man. He don't really turn up. But I'm gonna show you. This is him turning up. Let's look at Parker turning up. Cause he's like a dude from the past almost. He's like he fucking stepped out of a fucking time
Like
machine.
a little Einstein.
Yeah, like he stepped out of a fucking time machine. Like, let me see. This nigga be wearing suits and shit. Yeah, look.
Okay, today I'm going to show you a video from yesterday where I drove my car at my work. I would do the 10 types today, but I'm still trying to perfect the process and get
It's
used
not
to my new
feminine to
camera.
me. He just
Because
has the
as you
same
know,
tone the
10
whole
types
time.
are only sensitive to blue and ultraviolet light. Okay, now I'm going to
Did
turn
you see
on
the
the
date?
ignition. Okay, the car's in neutral. Now we'll fill the radiator with water. Okay, now I'm going to start the car. I've already turned on the gas. Okay, now I'm going to show you the original engine from 1928.
He needs to be like in college.
Okay, let's go for a ride now.
Damn.
You said this is him turning up.
That's his swag.
If you don't knock it off, I'm like he's turned up right now.
He's turned up. My man Parker, you hear the rev of that engine?
It's like as a woman going on a date with him, you couldn't even have like the conversation would just be about like science and like just no matter how hard you try to derail the conversation to some other shit, he'd just bring it right back to science.
Yeah. He's gonna bring it back to whatever you're talking about is gonna reference. He's gonna have a reference for it.
My man Parker.
Yeah, I like steak. Oh yeah, well the compounds in meat for the like
Okay,
what?
here we go. And those people are probably looking for Okay, hold on.
You gotta chew it. You know, with steak, you gotta chew it actually 50 times for it to digest in the system. Like, damn, nigga.
And if it's well done, rare this many times, well done. Sheesh. He looks like his name would be like Foreman.
My man's driving. My man's swag.
That shit's dope, though. That's dope.
How old is he?
We're coming up on the stop sign.
He's definitely in his 20s.
You think so?
Hell yeah.
Looks like they got warmed up.
Nah.
At least like mid or late 20s.
Mid? No, he looks like a teenager to me.
Let's go by my birth
Maybe,
month
yeah.
so we can vote.
Early 20s, mid 20s, maybe.
Yeah.
There's a lot of fucking noise. But that's your boy Parker, man. It's your boy Parker turning up.
I thought you was gonna show me him really turning up.
Okay. I got another one. Him turning up. Hold on.
That was not turning up.
Okay. All right. I got you. Hold on. Parker be turning up now. Hold on. Wait.
No, you don't.
I'm gonna show you. Give me a second. You gotta find a good one. Wait. Is this it? Hot chocolate? No, not that one. Wait a minute. Where's my man? Here we go.
Okay, today we are in Canton, and I'm going to be playing this player piano that I found. Although the player mechanism that plays itself does not work, I will be playing it manually.
He's a little Einstein.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that's Parker turning up.
Where are his parents? Where are his parents at?
When he was driving the car, it was a white dude and a little girl in the back seat. So I'm guessing that's his either dad. Yeah, it's probably his dad. His mom could be blind.
That dad looked very young then.
I don't know, man. This Parker turning up
He's not turning up.
in the antique shop. You see his feet? Look at that form.
I think his brain is just like dance, bro.
Yes,
Like,
very.
Yeah, I think his brain is different. I think his brain is
he's
far.
playing the piano. Look how he's playing the piano, nigga. Like,
And he says some crap isn't working. Is he autistic?
He could have. I'm guessing he has some.
I think he could be on the spectrum because I'm telling you, these kids on the spectrum be freaking geniuses. They find one area that they are just passionate about, and it's like, boom, it's crazy.
Yeah, that's what my man Parker is, dog. Turning up.
Running my magnifying transmitter and transmitting during the daytime so
Yeah,
I can see it better.
seems like he could be on the
Here
spectrum.
is the receiving coil. The
they're
only
geniuses,
wire
I'm
that
telling you, they're in a whole
it
nother
needs is
world.
a ground so that it can pull the electricity from the ground that is transmitted from the coil. And I will go around it so that I can prove there are no wires attached other than the ground wire. Now I'm going to throw the switch.
Oh, now I understand what he's doing.
oh look, see?
Okay, I get what he's saying.
Now I'm moving it.
I was wireless.
Running my magnifying transmitter and transmitting during the daytime so y'all can...
His eyes are awesome.
I think it's cool that it works, man. He looks like Lenny Kravitz, dog.
His eyes are amazing. They remind me of Size.
He looks like Lenny Kravitz, man. All right, I told y'all about this Streamlabs thing, man. Y'all could stream for as long
His
as
name
y'all
is
want.
Parkenstein.
He calls himself Dr. Parkenstein.
Like Frankenstein.
Yeah.
Parkenstein. That's why.
Yeah, Frankenstein with a P. Yeah.
Parkenstein.
Pretty interesting. But y'all got any closing thoughts on your boy Parker and just like I don't know shit like this in general, new technology? You think Parker gonna get the electricity to everybody? Or you think they're gonna stop his shit like they did?
No, they ain't gonna allow him to do that.
They ain't gonna allow him to do that,
The
but
government is so stingy. They ain't gonna do that. No way.
he's planting the seed in people's head. You know what I mean? But he's only gonna get so far.
They're gonna shut that down, especially with what Elon got going on. That's why he's like,
Elon. How Elon is innovative. Elon will probably have a different type of method. Like he might hire
a person like
I'm
Elon.
saying he will hire him, but he's gonna trump all that shit down. He ain't gonna let us be
Oh no, he's not gonna let us be bigger than him.
Independent. Hell nah. They don't want us.
He'd hire somebody like that for sure. Like he'd be like somebody would hire him before they let him get too big and do what they don't want him to do.
That's exactly who Elon is. Elon didn't come up with all this stuff. He had people come up with it. He just had that pocket to buy it out. You know what I'm saying? He don't got the brain like that, but he is very smart in how he markets things and do things like that. He's very crafty in that way, but the actual
He,
brains
he's
is
he's
him.
probably got like a team of scientists that he works
Exactly.
with, top notch scientists
Exactly.
that he pays like that to enlighten him and give him information and open his
Exactly.
eyes and explain to him how shit really works with electricity and all that. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? So, because like I said, with solar panels, I mean, if you think about it, like if they're creating electric cars, like it probably look retarded, but what's to say that they couldn't strap a big ass solar panel on top of it? You know, it's just what's more profitable. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like it's all about the money, bro. I'm telling you,
Exactly.
it's all about the money.
Just like my charger for my phone, I bought a solar powered one. So just imagine that on a bigger scale. Like if I
Yeah,
need to charge my phone, I just got to set it out in the sun and it charges. So imagine a car. If they already have electric cars, you don't need
exactly.
no gas,
Exactly.
no nothing. And I think they're doing that just because look how much money America pays, like, the Middle East to keep us running. They don't have a lot of cars like us. We got a
Hell
lot of
no,
cars to keep
fuck
running.
no.
You know what I'm
That's what
saying?
I was
So,
just saying that shit the other day. Middle Eastern getting that oil from them and shit. They don't got cars over there like that. You know what I'm saying? Like so it's they're making money off of us because that's what we got going on over here.
yeah,
Like and in other countries too, like Japan and China and shit. You know they got cars and shit like a
yeah.
motherfucker. Australia, different countries and shit. They got cars, but the Middle Eastern they're not car savvy like that. I mean, they
They're
got them, but
walking. They enjoy the way they
yeah,
live. Us, we lazy. So that's why it's like they're profiting a lot off of us, but we don't know what the supply is, and they're not going to let us know if the supply is running out. But that's why I believe that they've been trying for so many years to make everything electric because they see, man, look how much we're spending on this stuff. It's going up and all this type of stuff. So they're like, we need to come up with something else. And that's why I think they've been trying to find other ways.
see the Middle Eastern, like if you notice, like their major cities, like Dubai and shit like that, like everything is catered to where you don't necessarily have to drive. Like they have everything that you need where you can come out your house or apartment and walk to here, you know, walk
Hmm.
to there and get it and go back. Like and they'll have multiple sections of the same shit in every not on every corner, but I'm saying in the radius to
Where's
where
walking distance?
where's walking distance, right? Like, so they may have 5 Walgreens and shit like in the same area because they're catering to the people so that you don't gotta fucking drive. You can just get out, come out your house, walk over here, you and your son, your daughter, whatever, bag up all the groceries and fucking bring them shits back. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
And doctors, fucking schools, whatever. It's all right there to where you may walk a mile or two, whatever. Okay, but you're not driving. You know what I'm saying? Like it
Right.
may take you 30 minutes to get there and walking, but still, you know, you're not using no fuel to do that shit. So,
Hmm.
but here we're lazy.
That's why they're
You know,
so comfortable with, oh, we got to go walk to get our water to wash our hair. We got to go walk to get our water to do this. They may have a little watering hole, but they all know everybody has to use it and they only get a certain amount a day. So where they have their little bucket and they're cautious about what they're doing. Here we run the water, you got lights on, you we don't really think about it like that, but we're selfish by the time we really need it, we ain't gonna be here. So it's not, I don't know. It ain't cool, but
but
that's how we kinda are right now.
but I mean, one thing I can say is America's one of those countries where we're spoiled to where we do have the luxuries of a lot of countries don't have. You know what I'm
Hey,
saying?
what is this coronavirus remedy? I'm listening. Oh, he clicked
Oh
out of
yeah,
it.
no, I'm gonna go back. Yeah, yeah, right here.
What's his, no, up at the
Yeah,
top.
I don't know.
Okay, today I'm going to be sharing a remedy with you to treat the symptoms of coronavirus. This is not a proven cure for coronavirus, but I have seen good results using this method. Okay, now I'm going to tell you how I learned this is an effective remedy, at least from what I've seen. Okay, so I remember hearing about the olden days when tuberculosis was going around, and they would always move people to the fresh air, and they were all interested in the fresh air and everything. And I thought, what's in the fresh mountain air that's not in like lower altitude air? And I thought ozone is in that air. And I know ozone is proven to sanitize things, so I thought this might be a remedy for COVID. And then my birth mom texted me on Wednesday, August 11th, that she had COVID. And a week later, I went down to see her with my ozone machine and my violet ray. So when I got there to see my birth mom at her house, she was coughing really bad and her nose was running. So I got a glass of water and I put this thing from my ozone machine in the glass of water, and then I plugged in my ozone machine. So after I plugged in my ozone machine, I turned on this switch to start ozonating the water. So after I turned on that switch, I let the ozone bubbler bubble the ozone gas through the water, which is about 2 cups of water, for 7 minutes. So if you try this, only use distilled water, because sometimes ozone can convert certain minerals in the water to things that are really bad for your body. So only use distilled water. So after about 7 minutes, the water had been ozonated, and I took my birth mom the glass of water, and I told her, drink it and drink it really fast, because ozone tastes like burnt air, so it kind of tastes really bad. And also you have to drink it fast because ozone dissipates in the air like within 30 minutes. It'll break back down into O2. Basically, this is a form of ozone therapy. If you've never heard of it, look it up. After my birth mom drank the ozonated water, her cough temporarily went away and her taste and smell returned. So while my birth mom was drinking the ozonated water, I turned on my ozone generator too to put ozone into the air. This is the most important step. So my ozone generator generates 28 grams per hour, and I got it on Amazon. But anyway, I ran it for about 5 minutes. Until the room smelled faintly of ozone, but it wasn't overwhelming. If you run it too long, it will suffocate you because the O3 will replace all the O2 in the air, or the oxygen in the air.
Wow.
So open the windows when you run the ozone machine and only run it until it faintly smells of ozone. So they say ozone is toxic, but it's really not. It's that if you breathe in too much and it gets too concentrated in the air, you'll suffocate. Just like if you're breathing in helium to get that funny voice out of a balloon, if you breathe in too much, you'll die because you'll choke to death because you can't get enough oxygen. So I recommend when you use your ozone machine to ozonate your air, don't run it too long and open the windows when you run it. But I recommend running it 5 minutes every day, at least once. Ozone will also give you more energy temporarily because you know how when you run, how your heart rate increases and your blood gets oxygenated faster because you're breathing faster? Well, ozone will do this without you having to run because ozone will oxygenate your blood. That is why after you breathe in ozone for a little while, like not too much ozone though, you feel like you have more energy.
Okay, little Parkenstein.
That's different. What was I just about to look up? Give me 1 second. I know I clicked
What'd you say?
on something. I clicked
Okay, today I'm going to be sharing a
I was gonna search something. It was something in relation to this kid. But yeah, it's interesting to see a young. I mean, the kid's clearly he got some black in him.
Oh, clearly. He looks black and white.
Right. Yeah. Bro got some black in him. Most definitely. I don't know what I was just.
Is that him right there in the corner? Was that him?
Yeah. This
he has an album? No, he has an album right there.
Oh my goodness. He does music.
Mr. Parkenstein.
Oh, he does piano music.
It's called If You Should Ever Leave Me. Wait, see if he's going to sing. Fast forward it.
He's not going to sing.
No, skip into it. Let's see. I told you. I told you he was going to sing because it says, if you should ever leave me. He got an album. Let's hear his album. You hating on his album?
I'm not hating.
You hating on the man's album.
Support him.
You should go and leave me for another. Maybe you'd be happy, maybe I'd be blessed. Loving is the only thing.
You know when they have those little buses,
you should go and leave me for the night.
us another one. Let's hear one more.
My man Parker, that was real good, man.
One more, Parker.
Real proud
Let's
of
hear
him.
one more.
I think we should. It's more important.
Just
things.
one more, just a little bit. I want to see if they're all the same style. Just one more, like randomly select. Oh, this one might be good. After I've called you sweetheart. Okay. Parker, this is good. Okay, yeah, he got the same style. Okay, everybody go cop Parker Edmonds' album. When is his release party? Did he have a release party already?
March 15th, 2022.
Oh, this is a new one. The other one's 2020. Oh, so he's still in the game. Okay.
Copywritten. So, yeah, my man Parker, man. He's a genius. He sings. He plays piano. So, ladies,
and he's the worst.
You better put your bid in, because guys like that, I mean, they don't come often. Now, I think this is an awesome idea he has, and I hope.
10 hours ago. Okay.
Yeah.
So he's constantly putting out content. Great.
Yeah. Go ahead and subscribe to my man Parker Edmonson. He's talented. He might be the next Elon Musk, man. I don't know. He's trying to get people electricity in his backyard, man. I don't know. It might be far fetched, but what do you do? What were you doing at 19? Were you creating electricity for the world? I don't think so. You feel me?
So he's 19.
I don't know. He looks young. I want to maybe 20.
He looks young to me too.
He looks really young. I'm not sure. I do need to go get some water, but before I do that, I want to pull something up. AI.
Water.
Let me see. Work.
Let me see if I can find how it is.
Let me see. No, not. Let me see. AI bot. Let me see. AI bot simulation. Let me see here. Okay, so people use bots to it's called something learning.
It's 24.
24, yeah. It's called something learning.
Wait, 25. Wait, how old is he? It's saying all these different ages.
Oh, here it is. Here's what I'm looking for. I'll be right back, though. Hold on.
Weird.
25.
And hopefully see some interesting emergent behaviors. Dear fellow scholars, this is 2-minute papers with Károly Zsolnai Fehér. In this project, OpenAI built a hide-and-seek game for their AI agents to play. While we look at the exact rules here, I will note that the goal of the project was to pit 2 AI teams against each other and hopefully see some interesting emergent behaviors. And, boy, did they do some crazy stuff. The coolest part is that the 2 teams compete against each other, and whenever one team discovers a new strategy, the other one has to adapt. Kind of like an arms race situation, and it also resembles generative adversarial networks a little. And the results are magnificent, amusing, weird. You'll see in a moment. These agents learn from previous experiences, and to the surprise of no one, for the first few million rounds, we start out with pandemonium. Everyone just running around aimlessly. Without proper strategy and semi-random movements, the seekers are favored and hence win the majority of the games. Nothing to see here. Then, over time, the hiders learn to lock out the seekers by blocking the doors off with these boxes and started winning consistently. I think the coolest part about this is that the map was deliberately designed by the OpenAI scientists in a way that the hiders can only succeed through...
Okay, so I was looking at this this AI shit. So I don't know if y'all saw me do a video about AI created bot learning how to play Monopoly.
Mm.
All right, I'm gonna find it. Hold on, cause Because
You see what I sent you in the private chat?
let me see.
He's worth $1 million. It says his net worth, but look at what I sent you in the private chat.
Wait, it has to be the private chat of this.
Oh, I'm
Oh, you
sorry.
talking about
Hold
Instagram?
on.
Are you talking about Instagram?
Wait, hold on. I'm gonna send it. I'm gonna send it right here. There you go. There you go. Not like free to show, but I'm just saying, like,
No, I see
what? Like, you're worth how much, and you're doing that? Like,
Well, maybe,
just get it.
maybe he hasn't sold his idea yet.
No, but it's saying what is his net worth is $1 million. So,
I
so
mean,
why would he
theoretically.
need help with that? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Because it's not like he's underage and don't have access to it.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Yeah.
I think anyone can just do that, you know, nowadays. Hold on.
Monopoly.
Okay, so this video is really cool. I did a video on it. We lost 420. Hold on, y'all. Let's find out where 420 went real quick. We have guests with animals interrupting the show. Oh, you have 420. My computer died on them. Okay, so we lost 420 for the time being. Let me see, who else do we still have? Do we still have Shelly? Wagwan.
Yeah.
Alright, so Shelly's still here. Let me see. Oh, hey, Deuce had a comment but left it. Delete it. My man 420 still ain't get back, so we can have a brief intermission. We gotta find some uncopyrighted YouTube music. Hold on, I'm pretty good at that. Let me see. Uh-oh, she already came back. It's too late. Alright, so I think this was really
Wait,
cool.
what?
No, I was about to play some elevator music while you was gone. But
Oh, okay, no.
no,
I'll
we
go
ain't
put him in
gotta
the
do it. We good.
Okay.
This is really cool because this dude writes pretty much a bot. It's just a program, and the way you code it, you force it into doing certain commands, and depending on how you command it, it could learn. So, yeah.
A game that is fun for all ages, and is a staple of many people's childhoods. This iconic game gave some people their best memories, and their worst. Whether or not you look back on it fondly, the question has probably crossed your mind. What is the best way to win at Monopoly? Let's break this game down and see what we can find. The first thing you'll notice about Monopoly is that it isn't chess. You just aren't in control of everything your player does. In fact, when it comes to the movement of your piece, you have next to no influence on where the player can end up, which is determined solely by dice. Yes, you can exert some control over when you leave jail, but since you must make this decision before you roll, the event is still randomized. You cannot accept a dice roll. There's only one way you can influence your positioning. The chance that you roll a double goes up the longer you spend in jail. This means that you are more likely to move to an even square the longer you stay. It's not guaranteed, but it's all you've got. Let's talk about probability. Monopoly is primarily a game of chance, which means that even the perfect player won't win 100% of the time. Monopoly involves luck, and the key to playing it better is understanding how to be more lucky. The most efficient way to win at Monopoly is to build properties on sets. This increases the fine your opponents have to pay, and in turn, makes you more likely to win. Each set on the board has a different cost depending on how much money it makes back. Simply put, the more expensive the cost, the more expensive the fine. This can make it unclear to which set is the best, which if you want to play the game better, is definitely something you should know. To find out, we're going to introduce bot number 1. It buys everything, trades nothing, likes to build houses, and mortgages only when it needs to. I placed 4 of these bots onto the board and made them play 1,000,000 games. This is what happened. Here are the win rates based on who went first, second, third, or fourth. You can see that players who go first have a slight advantage over players that go after them. This isn't news to anyone, but what was surprising about this is how unfair Monopoly becomes as the number of players decreases. In a game of 4 players, there is a 5% difference between the first and the last player. In a game of 3 players, this difference jumps to 18%, and with 2, it's 57%. That is a massive difference. Now, it's important to note that these win rates only applied when the games had an outcome, which as it turns out, was not very often. Most of the games between these bots ended in a stalemate.
Yo, what up, 420?
My bad, y'all.
I tried to
You
call
still
you, bruh.
alive?
Huh?
You still alive?
Yeah, we still live. We watching a
Okay.
video about a dude.
So that means I need to go first in
What?
Monopoly all the time.
You can't.
That means I need to go first in Monopoly.
Yeah, just make sure you go first, and it'll increase your chances of winning, right? But that's not all though, cause
Let's see.
Stalemates happen 70% of the time with 4 players. They also happen 42% of the time with 3 players, and 4% of the time with 2. This was mainly because none of them would trade. That meant the only way they could win was to acquire a set purely by chance. And if that didn't happen, then none of them would ever inflict enough damage to bankrupt the others, and the game would go on indefinitely. Interestingly, when there was only 1 player in the game, stalemates happened 100% of the time. This is the main reason you should join my Discord, because even numbers show that life is more fun with others. If we analyse the squares that the bots landed on the most, it tells an interesting story. We can clearly see that the most frequently visited place in the game is jail. This is because there are many reasons you can end up there. Whether it be by card, rolling 3 doubles, landing on the go to jail tile, or choosing just to remain there, players often find themselves behind bars. In fact, the jail tile is so frequently landed on, that the locations that precede it land more players simply by being nearby. Another thing we can see is the fall off that occurs as we go further through the tiles. The more turns you have, the more likely you are to be teleported elsewhere. Jail is a big reason for this, but the community chest and chance cards are also responsible for altering your journey. This makes properties at the end of the board harder to reach, except for Mayfair of course, or Boardwalk, or the Rue de l'Ever, or whatever you want to call it. This also explains why the first few tiles in the game are so hard to get to, since players need to go all the way around the board just to have a good chance of landing on them. Probabilities help show what sets are good, but it's not conclusive evidence of which set is the best. To figure that out, we are going to introduce a new metric, the relative win rate. This metric will show us how likely the tile in question is to belong to the winner. This will only include things that the player bought. Assets acquired from bankrupting others will not be taken into consideration here. Using this new metric, we can finally determine which set was the best for these bots. In first place, we have the dark blues, comfortably ahead of the others. This is no surprise, owning these properties is always a big advantage. In second place, we have the browns. The browns. Somehow the worst set on the board is now the second best set on the board. This honestly perplexed me for the largest amount of time, until I realised this. In a game without trades, getting a set is extremely difficult. You have to get extremely lucky in order to acquire a set with 3 properties, since this requires landing on all 3 without anyone else doing so. This task is just far easier to accomplish with the sets of 2, so it makes sense as to why they both have such a high win rate. Let's back up a bit though. If the brown set is the second best set on the board, then you know you're not playing Monopoly right. And yeah, we aren't trading anything. Without it, the game is essentially a race to see who can get the first set, if any. With this in mind, let's construct a new AI that learns how to play the game perfectly. Now, I'm not going to pretend that I can just craft the perfect Monopoly AI manually, but you might be wondering how it's even possible in the first place, considering the amount of randomness going on. Knowing what strategy works better in this game is quite difficult. Comparing 2 AI with a single game is practically futile, since even the best possible AI can lose a game badly to a terrible one through bad luck. Just because $100 is won on a slot machine doesn't mean that the best strategy is to keep playing. It is for this reason that the good strategies must be recognised by playing a large number of games. This should allow for a fair comparison of players, but it still doesn't answer how we are going to create our new trading AI. To solve this, we are going to introduce an algorithm called NEAT, which stands for Neuroevolution of Augmenting Topologies. This algorithm combines neural networks with basic evolutionary principles. Neural networks are a recreation of the same mechanisms that allow our brains to think, which when combined with evolution, produces some amazing results. NEAT learns to accomplish things quickly, like solving an XOR gate, or balancing a pole, or solving an XOR gate while balancing a pole. There are almost endless possibilities. This ability also extends to gaining a deep understanding of complex games, which in this case will be Monopoly. In order for this to work, the networks need to know what's happening on the board. Neural networks process data using neurons, which receive sets of information. They then combine this information and pass it on to their neighbours. Information comes into the network from the input neurons and passes out of it via the output neurons. This is where we come in. For Monopoly, we need an input for every piece of information on the board, and an output for all the different actions we can take, which as it turns out is quite a large set. 3 input neurons.
Oh shit. Now, that's the same word for like neurons in the brain. They use the same thing for computers. So this dude is pretty much creating a computer's brain and telling it how to think. That's so fucking dope.
Neurons are required for each player, 1 for position, 1 for money, and 1 for get out of jail free cards, for a total of 12 inputs. There are 28 properties on the board, each requiring 2 inputs, 1 to represent the owner, and 1 to determine if it's mortgaged. Additionally, 22 of these properties can be built on, so they all need an additional input to represent housing. We also require one extra input for each property so that we can let the network know context. For example, do you want to buy the Browns? Together, all these input neurons now represent the board entirely. For our outputs, there are 8 different decisions our Monopoly AI has to make. This includes buying, mortgaging, trading, unmortgaging, bidding, building houses, selling them, and deciding what to do in jail. A neuron will be created for each one of these. Altogether, these neurons now form an interface that can play Monopoly. Now we are almost ready to crunch the numbers. Just one more problem. Neat works by generating a population of agents that compete against each other. During each generation, each agent is ranked using a fitness value, which rates how good it is at the given task. Fitness values dictate how the next generation of agents is made, with higher scores being rewarded with more offspring. The scores are typically marked like an exam, where each agent attempts the same thing individually. But this can't work for Monopoly, because after all, it's a multiplayer game, so agents need to compete against each other. To account for this, fitness values will be assigned by using a knockout tournament scheme. Agents will be randomly assigned to a group of 4, and forced to play several thousand games in that group. Once the games conclude, the player with the most wins advances to the next round. Fitness will be determined by how far an agent gets in the tournament, with one small exception. After the first tournament concludes, fitness will be determined by the tournament ranking, but relative to where the previous champion goes, who will compete again. So if an agent is able to get further than the former champion, it receives a higher fitness value. This way, new champions should always improve on their predecessors. Finally, we are able to run the algorithm. Speaking of which, let's run it. All tallied up, the AI played 11.2 million games against itself to reach this point, which if it was a human, would have taken about 1600 years. At this point, it's basically the god of Monopoly. So, the only question to answer now is, how did God learn Monopoly? The first thing the AI learned was that paying for jail is bad, and favoured cards and rolling dice. That was a great idea, said the AI. You know what else is a good idea? Bidding $3,000 on every property. And so it did just that, and lost horribly most of the time. After that, it soon discovered building houses and unmortgaging, and put them to good use. As the AI progressed, it began to start making more sensible decisions. It was becoming aggressive when it was winning, and passive when it was losing. This is when weird things started to happen. The AI then said, you know what? I figured it out, and started mortgaging everything it owned, without exception. And that's it. This strategy guaranteed a win every time. Monopoly has been— I'm just kidding, this obviously doesn't work. What happened instead is that every single game ended in a draw. This, however, didn't last long. You know what's better than altruism? Winning. The AI paid off its insanely high debt to the bank and started winning again, re-enabling its sophisticated strategies from before. It also began to actively trade properties, and well too. I couldn't find a single trade that was uneven. At this point, the AI had progressed to the strength of an average human player, and played like one too. That's when the AI decided to pull its most spectacular trick out of the bag. Auction everything, and bid next to nothing.
This is so cool, like watching the different steps of the computer learn against itself.
Because auction off everything?
Yeah, because it's trying to learn how to win over like the best way to win. So it's trying different strategies. So because the AI is its motivation is the AI is given a goal. You see what I'm saying? The little bot, the way he was talking about like the neurons, like he's telling it where it is and how it needs to act, and it does nothing else but act that way. And it continues to act that way because you give it like a reward system. Like every time something good happens, which is like more money, or more properties, or just winning in the end. You know, it only goes off the end result. If the end result is a loss, it'll do something to tweak it. You see what I'm saying? And that's the AI learning. You see what I'm saying? And like he was saying, once the AI figures out how to dominate completely, it changes it up. You see what I'm saying? It finds a flaw and then it changes it up. Like, let me see.
Monopoly has been— I'm just kidding, this obviously doesn't work. What happened instead is that every single game ended in a draw. This, however, didn't last long. You know what's better than altruism? Winning. The AI paid off its insanely high debt to the bank and started winning again, re-enabling its sophisticated strategies from before. It also began to actively trade properties, and well too. I couldn't find a single trade that was uneven. At this point, the AI had progressed to the strength of an average human player, and played like one too. That's when the AI decided to pull its most spectacular trick out of the bag. Auction everything, and bid next to nothing. I have no words for this. Nevertheless, its deep understanding of the game had become very apparent. Here is our final trading AI's favourite properties, in all their glory. We can see here that its love for the browns has evaporated, and now the orange set stands as its favourite. It also loves trains, with the first train being its favourite property in the entire game. The red and purple sets are also well liked. The AI also seems to really enjoy Mayfair. Other than that, we can see that the other properties are pretty equal in terms of preference. And that's it. 2 weeks of training to agree with human theory. Nice to know that we are that bad at games, after all.
Yeah, all that shit went over my head.
Well, pretty much what he did is he told it to play a game. They do this with other stuff, like chess.
Yeah, but so what's the end result? What do you have to do to win?
The end result is, these are its favorite properties. Right here, this corner. Like the most bought properties by the AI.
It wouldn't be the blue?
Nah, no, the blue ones aren't the most bought. The red, the dark, the more reddish, the color are the most bought.
Are the most bought, but
Yeah.
where do you make more of your money from?
Right here. That's why they're the most purchased. Because he did it over the course of, what did he say, 4.2 million games or something like that, or 2.1 million games he made the computer play against itself. Yeah. And then there's people that build bots to play. Let me see how to win Monopoly every time. Let me see this.
We will be discussing the board game of money, Monopoly. Whether you're new to the game or an expert, today we are going to cover how to win the game of Monopoly every time. In this video, we will cover several key strategies
Which one do you
designed
pick?
to build a...
What's your favorite thing?
My favorite one, when I was little, it was the car.
Everybody's was the car.
But I like the warship. I like the warship.
Worship. I always like the iron. I don't know
Yeah.
why.
I like how it moves on the board. It's like flat.
Yeah, because it's just flat. I just like the iron. Yeah.
I like the warship, but I don't like that it falls over so easy. But I like the warship. The hat's cool. The hat's kind of dope. The thimble's weird, man. I don't get the thimble. But they're all symbolic of.
You don't like the bow barrel?
They're all symbolic of capitalism, like war. The rich salesman, iron.
What? You're going in.
I'm just saying they're all symbolic of point that
War
has to do
itself?
like war has to do with money. Then they got the top hat, like people back in the day there had the bankers that had a big top hats. Then the dog is a very expensive dog, like some kind of one of them poodles or whatever.
A schnauzer.
Yeah, like it's symbolic of money. You know what I mean? Then the wheelbarrow. If you're a farmer, then you got the thimble. Using for sewing, creating of products. One of the old school cars.
The shoe.
Yeah, it all has something to do with the economy in some kind of way. Symbolic, but yeah, anyways, I definitely like the warship. 420, what you going with, bro?
What's your favorite little?
That nigga probably fell asleep.
For real.
For real.
It's like, oops, y'all.
Listen, man. This white kid think he know how to beat Monopoly. We're gonna find
strong foundation. This also assumes you don't land on the go-to-jail spot, which forms a natural barrier. This means players will be more likely to land on spots such as the light blue or and can significantly transfer St. James for states and $400. The board will erupt in anger, as they believe you've just handed your opponent the game. And your opponent thinks he's just locked up the win, as now he owns the two best monopolies and gave up peanuts. However, with your $1,000, you build 10 houses on the pinks immediately, getting you $450 to $700 each time someone lands on the properties. Your opponent, with $200, can only build 2 houses on orange or 4 houses on light blue, and make no more than $100 by someone landing on it. Knowing your position and opponent's position on the board, you may be able to quickly get a few rent collections before anybody realizes what's just happened. Before your opponent realizes that his only option is to mortgage the oranges that he's been after the entire game to build more on light blue, you've already collected rent and have drastically shifted the money supply in your favor. Now, this won't work if your opponent has properties to mortgage, because they can simply mortgage them and build houses right away. This example is meant to be questionable, to demonstrate how you can still hijack a game even when your opponents don't feel like trading with you. In a real game, you should be able to get far more favorable deals, and the possibilities for deals are countless. The key is to understand how much money both you and your opponent have for developing and to trick them into thinking they just got a great deal. Knowing you can reach 3 houses when they can't will allow you to take the lion's share of the money supply and own the game. To recap, Monopoly comes down to understanding the odds of the dice and know where you or your opponent may land next turn. Then, knowing the board to further anticipate hotspots and likelihood of players being in any part of the
Man, he don't know shit.
Exactly. He's just telling us what could possibly kind of, you know.
Yeah. Let me see. He don't know shit. Let me see. They have bots playing. I fought the world's best Pokemon Shadow AI. What? Let me see. There's a bunch of videos of AI learning to play. What? Learning to play video games and shit. When a computer plays what? Okay, so they build bots in video games. There are bots that through machine learning, they learned how to beat some of the best gamers in the world, like champions. It's a game called StarCraft. Let me see here. Let me see. Let me see. What is the AI? Let me see. AI about StarCraft versus TLO. I think TLO highest rank. Okay, I think this is
Everyone, and welcome back to some bot on bot action as Micro Machine opens up with saying that my
Not at all. That's not what I'm looking for. Damn, what is the name of this? So hold on. Google DeepMind. There we go.
Today I've got a bit of a special video for you. This is not your regular pro game of StarCraft 2. Well, we've got...
No. Shut up. I'm not looking for that. I don't... Why is he doing it? Google DeepMind versus Programmer Grandmaster something.
I'm gonna have to switch.
Yeah?
Not right now, but in a little bit probably.
Alright.
I'll have to switch
gamers at a variety of difficult games. So this time around,
Okay, that's what it's called. It's called OpenAI. The OpenAI game. Learned how to play StarCraft.
we'll have a look at another major
And it beat
exactly when to engage and when to back out from an engagement with the smallest sliver of health left. I will show quite a few examples of those to you during this video, so stay tuned.
This dude with the 2-minute paper thing, he does this OpenAI shit all the time. Let me see. Del E2 explained this is AI creating photos, hyper realistic photos. I was just showing y'all like the little hide and seek thing. For the first time ever, I think an AI beat Minecraft. Let me see. They try to make it play shooters. Let me see here. I don't think they can make it do too much, but it's pretty much just a little robot brain playing the video game. Let me see. I think it's called machine learning. I'm gonna be honest. I think it's called machine learning. Let me see here. No, that's not it. They can learn how to park, nigga. Through the penalty reward system. Motherfuckers creating video games with AI.
Hello everyone. One rainy afternoon.
Be quiet.
In cosines and swapping numbers around until I find the height from the height map.
Okay, what he's doing is he's writing code so that he can grab images off of Google Maps and superimpose them into into a virtual world to make hyper-realistic graphics.
Which gives a value between 0 and 1. Inspiration strikes. Is also responsible for compressing the South American plate all along its western edge, pushing up, of course, the Andes Mountains. Geology is very cool. Significantly less cool, unfortunately, is my GPU. So an important optimization is something called frustum culling, where only the objects whose bounding boxes are actually within the viewable region of the camera have their mesh data sent to the GPU. I've taken one of these and used it to give the terrain a splash of color. What I'd like to figure out next is some way of displaying the countries, possibly with outlines or maybe some sort of highlighting of the one you're currently over. I'm not quite sure yet. So I've downloaded some country data. It's basically just a big list of points defining the outlines of all the countries. And I wrote a little script to load that in, which was a very straightforward task that I nonetheless managed to bungle in a number of creative ways. But here at last are the countries of the world. This dataset actually came in 3 different levels of detail. I'm using the medium one.
That's crazy. Hold on.
I think that looks interesting, but honestly, I might actually have preferred how it was looking before the blur, although I do like the subtle shading we get from this blur.
Made a video game. It's fire, man. We can sit and do this all night. Let me see. I got motherfuckers going to sleep on the panel. 2 hours, 15 minutes. Hey, look. We can keep going. Fuck it. Let's find some more shit. I'm gonna eventually go in the backyard, but I'm gonna chill and do more a little bit for YouTube. AI learns how to do what else? StarCraft, whatever. Nah, I'm trying to find one I haven't seen before. What about
Hello everybody. Although you probably already know, Geometry Dash is a very popular mobile game where you control a square that moves forward by jumping, and I kinda suck at it. So I want to make an AI to play Geometry Dash for me. But there's one big problem. Unless I could actually come up with some ridiculous method to take a screenshot of every frame, and then dissect information from it, there isn't really an easy way to use the original game. So instead, I'm gonna recreate Geometry Dash from the ground up. And I'm probably gonna regret this. To begin, like many of my projects, I created an array to store some tiles and filled it with some noise to test some basic rendering, and it works. Now for this project, I need to implement a camera system. And luckily, I have a lot of experience with implementing cameras, having made many different platformers, including Kirby Maker, which I will show you guys one of these days. Anyways, implementing a 2D camera is actually a lot more simple than you might imagine. I simply created a vector to describe the location of the camera, and then when something is being rendered, like a tile, the camera's position is subtracted from the position of the object. And with this and a little camera controller I made.
Okay, so once again, he's just coding the AI to do a thing.
We now have a working camera system. Now currently all of the tiles in the array are being rendered at once, but this is quite inefficient, especially when the array gets bigger. So it's time to add camera clipping. The idea is that starting from the center of the screen, tiles are rendered on all sides a certain distance, called a clipping range. This is set on both the X.
No.
Is it the same person or no?
Nah, it's not the same person. No. This is just a dude, just a regular kid on YouTube. Obviously, I'm not subscribed to him, but I'm starting to subscribe to a lot of coders on YouTube. But you sent me a link in the private chat and you said, who is this?
Don't say it out loud.
What do you?
Right.
Okay, so that's
no.
I mean,
I clicked on it, but I'll talk to you about it after.
When we go off live,
yeah.
But right now, we're trying to be on some smart shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the y-axis.
So what he's doing right now is he's coding the brain for the little AI bot because he wants to teach it how to play. Hold on.
But there's one big problem. Unless I could have a mobile game where... Hello everybody. Although you probably already know, Geometry Dash is a very popular mobile game where you control a square that moves forward by jumping, and I kinda suck at it. So I want to make an AI to play Geometry Dash for me. But there's one big problem. Unless I could actually come up with some ridiculous method to take a screenshot of every frame, and then dissect information from it, there isn't really an easy way to use the original game. So instead, I'm gonna recreate Geometry Dash from the ground up. And I'm probably gonna regret this. To begin, like many of my projects, I created an array to store some tiles and filled it with some noise to test some basic rendering, and it works. Now for this project, I need to implement a camera system. And luckily, I have a lot of experience with implementing cameras, having made many different platformers, including Kirby Maker, which I will show you guys one of these days. Anyways, implementing a 2D camera is actually a lot more simple than you might imagine. I simply created a vector to describe the location of the camera, and then when something is being rendered, like a tile, the camera's position is subtracted from the position of the object. And with this and a little camera controller I made, we now have a working camera system. Now currently all of the tiles in the array are being rendered at once, but this is quite inefficient, especially when the array gets bigger. So it's time to add camera clipping. The idea is that starting from the center of the screen, tiles are rendered on all sides a certain distance, called a clipping range. This is set on both the X and the Y axis, and any tiles outside of this range are simply not rendered. This can vastly reduce the number of tiles being rendered, and even in a simple game like this, improve the performance drastically. Right here, the clipping range is quite low to show the effect in action. As soon as it's turned up, it looks seamless. With some of the basics out of the way, it is now time to start making this actually look like Geometry Dash. And to start, I decided on adding a background. Now, I had a lot of problems finding assets for this game, so all I could find was this very noisy image of the background, so I spent some time redrawing it.
Alright, so teaching an AI how to do something, that's not the hard part. Finding the environment when you're trying to teach an AI to do a specific thing can be the hard part if it's something that's pre-coded, like if it's a world that's already made, like a game that's already made. Because it's harder to write a code that scans the entire video game, takes a whole bunch of information from that, and is able to sort it all out and efficiently tell what's dangerous and what's not dangerous to do everything perfectly. That's way too hard. It's much easier to make a basic AI that does basic shit and then just recreate the whole world and then run it in that world over and over and over until it figures it out. So you leave the stress onto the bot instead of doing the hard work on your end. That makes sense.
Now, rendering the background in the game is quite simple. The background slowly pans based on the location of the camera, and multiple backgrounds are rendered at each other's edges to create a transition. Once enough are rendered, it is perfectly seamless, and I even decided to spice it up with a little bit of color too. Next, I decided to add a floor, and I repeated the touch-up process with the floor texture as well. The floor gets rendered in almost the exact same way as the background, except that its Y position also moves with the camera, just like any other tile would. And just these two things alone make it look so much better. Next thing on the agenda was to add some physics, but in order to do so I needed some basic collision first, so I quickly wrote up a simple floor collision and applied it to the ground. And it worked perfectly, first try. Confident in my new collision code, I decided to add back some tiles randomly on the floor to see if the collision would work on them. And of course, there was issues. All it came down to was me forgetting to adjust the position of the left side of the collision, but with it now properly adjusted, the collision is now working flawlessly. Geometry Dash is really perfect because there's really only two kinds of collision needed to make the game functional. You need some kind of floor collision, and then another kind of collision used for hitting anything else but the top of a solid tile. We will add the other collision type later, but for now, I want to make our tiles a little bit more interesting. So let's add some textures. I created a texture atlas to store some tiles, and then I manually recreated a bunch of different tiles from the game.
Alright, we're going fast forward. Hold on.
To make a level, but I need some way to edit the array. So I sort of have been telling a lie about the grid this whole time. It isn't actually 2D. It's actually a 1D array that is accessible as a 2D array. So in order to resize it, the memory of the original must be copied into another array, and then transferred back to the new array after it is reallocated. And that can cause some issues, especially when you use the wrong size variable. With the array copying code finally updated, I now have a way to make a proper level. So let's start by making the first level of Geometry Dash, Stereo Madness. With the level done, I decided to do a quick run-through, just to make sure it was even possible to complete to begin with. And somehow, despite my total BS physics I came up with, the level seems to be 100% possible to complete. Now, I'm pretty sure that this level is as accurate as I could make it without all the fancy tiles, and yes, I did decide to drop the flying sections because I do not want to spend the rest of my life making this mobile game. But I still cannot actually die yet, so I quickly implemented the other collision to handle actually hitting the tiles, and applied it to the spikes, and even the solid tiles too. But since the floor collision gets called first on the solid tiles, only the sides of the solid tile will kill the player. But it works, and that's all that matters. Although the 3-block jumps are quite brutal, but adjusting the physics more would just F everything up, so it's as good as it can get. Now I wanted to focus on making some more details, so I added some particles, but I forgot that one unit is 1 tile big and not 1 pixel big, so I made a confetti cannon by accident. Sadly, I turned down the velocity to a much more modest amount. One strange detail from Geometry Dash that I wanted to add was how the tiles enter the sides of the screen. So I experimented with them being separated at the edges, and it has a really cool effect, but I wasn't completely satisfied. So I tried another effect where it stretched the tiles out instead, and it looked kind of weird, so I settled on a compromise. The left side would have the separated tiles, and the right side would have the stretched out tiles. And just for the fun of it, I turned up the effect really high to see what would happen, and it's quite trippy looking. After this, I made many more little changes, and the result is pretty awesome for being a half-assed clone of Geometry Dash. Sorry I didn't write the AI in this video, but in part 2 I will be. But we do now have an awesome clone to use, and it will give me quite a lot of power with designing the AI. So now I'll leave you with some footage of the final result. Enjoy, and thank you guys for watching, and for your awesome support. Roll the film.
So my nigga just pretty much just wrote an AI to finish the level perfectly. Okay, but that's not really interesting because, you feel me? That's not. I can see if you wrote it and then put it in there, and then it learned. Hold on. Machine learning. You see Naomi over there watching the fuckery. Alright. Come on, man. Where's the cool shit? Like when you apply it to the video games. I spent a week making an AI video game idea. Okay, so that's AI driving. Can it play Madden? I mean, obviously it can play Madden because time lapse, artificial intelligence. No, they're not. No, it's not that fucking smart at all. Hey, YouTube, peace. Eat dick. We're gonna go laugh at people on YouTube in the backyard. But I appreciate y'all. Thanks to the panel. And everybody involved. You see what I'm saying? Read books. Anybody want to say anything or no to the people before we fade to black?